Then we touch and we sing about the love of things. All night, oh, every night. So hold tight, oh baby, hold tight. Any way you want, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it, oh, any way you want, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She says, so hold tight. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. No woman, no cry. Yeah. No woman, no cry. Said I remember what we used to say in that government yard in Trench Town. Serving those hypocrites, many friends away. So I say, everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright. Oh, man, no cry.
You never know what we're up to here at The Next Round. The easiest way to stay in the know with our antics and adventures is to follow The Next Round across all social media platforms at Next Round Live on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Whether it's Dunaway sleeping in the studio, Tim and Lunceford breaking down the latest movie release, or Game Day Chronicles, we are here to keep you updated on the latest sports news while, of course, having just a little bit of fun. Follow at Next Round Live across all platforms to join in. Happy football season. At The Next Round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, here we go now live. We got a lot of college football to get to, and we'll talk about our guest today coming up here in just a second. Josh Pate's with us at 9:30. But my goodness, we got to start with Monday Night Football. SVP was speechless as he tried to transition from the 2-minute warning tease, where he said we'll be going into the victory postgame. Will be likely the Eagles with them back, and all they had to do is run out the clock and catch one ball. And then all of a sudden, it was craziness in Philadelphia. 65 seconds it took the Falcons to take over, go 70 yards, and take the lead. I wrote this down. 106 seconds left when they got the ball, or when it looked like the Eagles were about to complete a first down pass and run the clock out. And 27 seconds left in the game when they took a knee to ice it. Yeah. So they had already drove and scored the touchdown, kicked it back to the Eagles, and the Eagles had already thrown the interception, and they were taking a knee, all from 106 seconds to 27 seconds. It was the fastest flip ever.
Boy, and I'll tell you, I had the Falcons plus 5.5, and I was telling Brown, Saquon, all he's got to do is make that grab. He makes that typically in his sleep, and I think he goes immediately to the ground, and the game's over.
Yep.
And they run it out, and at that point I was like, damn, they're going to kick it. They're going to end up covering by a half a point. And Kirk Cousins, just because, he hasn't looked the same since the Achilles injury last October. And I'll tell you, that drive, and he's found him a go-to. Darnell Mooney is not the guy that I thought would be the go-to. I thought it would be Drake London, and maybe Drake London works a little bit more in. And ultimately had the game-winning touchdown. But, man, that drive, 6 of 7 on that drive, or 5 of 6, 70 yards, I mean, that was precise.
I was watching, it's so fascinating. I was watching the Manning cast, and in the fourth quarter, Matt Ryan was on, and Matt Ryan was on during that drive. So you had Peyton, Matt Ryan, Eli. It's 3 pretty good quarterback minds. And they made such a good point. Peyton's like, everybody always points out how much more comfortable you look in the 2-minute. And he goes, the reason why is the 2-minute drill, you're running first-day install plays. These are plays that everybody on the team knows and is comfortable with. You don't have time to think, so they're not calling anything complicated. He goes, these are plays you ran first day at camp. Receivers know where to go. Quarterbacks know where the receiver's going. Everybody is so comfortable. And he said, and then Atlanta is doing exactly what you're supposed to do on a 2-minute drill. He said they're keeping the same formation every time. He goes, who's their play caller? Is it Kubiak? No, that's it. Is that
Kubiak's the Saints.
No, that's Saints.
That's Saints. Who's the Falcons play caller? I forget. Anyway.
Zach Robinson.
Yeah. So he says.
Former Ram, by the way.
Yeah, he says he's calling a great 2-minute because he's calling it all out of the same formation. He goes, so the receivers never have to think about where do I line up. You line up same place you lined up last play. And they're lining up same place. And he goes, this is a – and then when they hit the guy down inside the 10, he's like, all right, this is going to sound crazy. He didn't need to go out of bounds right there. They need to start burning clock. Yeah. That's what Eli says.
You know what? And I get this all the time because Maddie asked me probably 2 weeks ago, maybe last week, why don't they run 2-minute all the time?
Yeah.
Well, and that's what he's saying you can't do that.
I know.
Because the defense isn't as stupid as the Eagles were last night.
I don't get it.
I don't either. I don't either.
You want the other side of it? Is Raheem Morris, when they get the ball back, what's he do?
He's still blitzing.
He rushes 5, and did that have an impact?
Yeah.
Hurts is throwing it off his back foot and throws a pick.
You can just go back to the Auburn-Alabama game last year. You don't even have time to throw a 31-yard pass in the back corner after scrambling around if you rush people.
That's correct.
You don't have time.
I don't understand it.
So you do that defensively, but go back offensively, LT. The pass to Saquon, look, you catch it, game's over with. But to put them against the wall, you run it.
I would have run it.
Yeah. I would have run it. And now they've got 25 seconds.
That's right.
I get it,
seconds.
but it ended up being a great play call.
Oh, yeah.
They've got no timeouts,
But
though.
you guys have killed me for years going back to that DeBose Iron Bowl game. Who was the kid that fumbled?
Ed Sissom.
Ed Sissom. The Ed Sissom fumble. Should have run the ball and run the clock.
Not exactly an NFL passing attack.
No, but Ed Sissom, if he catches it, it's a great play call. They kneel it down. They pull the upset.
But Saquon is one of the best out of the backfield. I'm telling you, 999 times out of 1,000, he makes that. I would have run it too.
You had no timeouts.
I'm glad this thing played out exactly how it did. I love seeing. Although I own both of those teams in the Calcutta, I love seeing Nick Sirianni lose.
Yeah.
He's tough, man.
Before we move on, so it is a penalty for me to fire a fake gun into the air now?
100%, yes.
Why does that need
just a gun thing?
Is it a gun?
Yeah.
Can I do the bow and arrow in the air? That could kill
bow
someone.
and arrow, you could. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can I
You can throw a hand grenade.
Throw a hand grenade.
Yeah.
Can I stab?
Stab?
Potentially. Like if it's a
You can't do this.
if,
do this.
If it's an RPG and I fire it off my shoulder, is that a penalty?
That looks like a gun.
Yeah. So a true criminal in Tyreek can do the celebratory.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
that was not a penalty.
Getting cuffed.
Well, he did get cuffed that day, though.
He did.
To his defense.
We can do some form of sexual thrusting, but not too much.
Okay.
It can't be repetitive. It can be
Yeah,
one
I
thrust.
Oh, just one thrust is
Yeah.
okay.
Didn't have a problem with Drake shooting off the.
I mean, who would?
Yeah.
I don't know why that has to be a 15-yard penalty. That is the most ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we got some dumb penalties. That's pretty dumb.
We do. And if we don't think the kid threw his helmet off.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
it was loose, but he threw his helmet off.
he does that right there. He popped off.
Yeah.
Hey, the biggest moment though, Young Hoku, the 48-yard extra point. He misses that. It goes to overtime. Everything's on the table.
Yeah. Well, after a 15-yard penalty,
Yeah.
so you had to be a
and
little
the best,
nervous.
Maddie looked. She was like, "Is he Asian?" I'm like, "I don't know any other young hoes."
You may want to finish that sentence.
He's
yeah.
Asian. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know any Young Hokus.
There you go. That's much
there you
better.
go.
I
You
would
need the
finish
last
that.
name
I'd
there.
finish that if I were you.
So Falcons win. Lance is excited because there's a Lance's Lock winner there. One of those weird covers and wins at the end. You didn't need them to win outright. You just needed them to cover, and you got that last night. LancesLock.com, another winner. Hemp Hill Services brings you the Lance's Lock.
Yeah, nice 14-7-1 over the weekend for you guys. Jump on board, win with us at Lance's Lock, lanceslock.com. Check out the website, subscribe to the YouTube channel. We would appreciate all that. Always brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill Services, 205-229-2090, 205-229-2090. Whether you experience plumbing, heating, or cooling issues in your home or business, they are ready to serve you. Hard to stop a train. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
I do notice, though, we're allowing more celebrations in college football. I do like that. They're
100%.
getting away with more in college football. Yeah, I'm fine with that, man. The kids,
too.
they've just scored a touchdown. Let them have some fun.
They work hard.
I don't know why this has to be a 50. He's not shooting at someone, Lance. He's indiscriminately firing a gun in the air.
You don't know that. Upper deck. That could have been the
No,
upper deck.
I think he was dove hunting.
I think he was shooting eagles out of the sky. I think it was art.
Could have been,
it was
yeah.
art. He was doing like an arty performance there.
Yeah.
I'm shooting the eagles out of the sky just as though I have killed them.
I would have told the ref that I was doing one of those super soakers, and I was trying to calm
not a
everybody
gun.
down.
Yes.
You guys were too hot. I'm calming you down with this touchdown. Super soaker.
Johnston RV Center, I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur is where you find Johnston RV. I promise you, I keep saying this, that fall air will be here soon. Fall air will be here soon. You could go see America in the fall in an RV from Johnston RV Center. They've got great prices for you right now. I-65, exit 304 in Coleman, 334 in Decatur. Like travel trailers, $145 a month is where they start. How about fifth wheels? You could save more than $45,000 on a fifth wheel. RV warranty forever. Make sure you've got a lifetime warranty on anything new or qualifying previously owned. That is Johnston RV Center. See everything I'm talking about, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Okay, so on the show today, we've got Josh Pate coming up at 9:30. Clay Travis with us at 10. And we'll get to the upset alert coming up at 10:25. The Elephant in the Room, that's a podcast on Cover Crimson, so let me go somewhere else. The schedule is different, if you notice, right?
That is correct,
You look,
yes.
and there's usually at 9:20, 9:30, there's usually one of our NIL quarterbacks who is not on this week. Brown, the explanation is?
Well, Peyton Thorne, the Auburn quarterback who lost his starting job last week, is normally on with us Tuesdays at 10:25 or 10:30. Or excuse me, geez, Ryan. Tuesdays at 9:30. Tyler Booker Mondays at 9:30. Peyton's representation reached out to us yesterday. We understand it's probably been an emotional week for him, a difficult week for him, and asked if we would mind if Peyton took a week off. I mean, we're not going to say no to that, right? I mean, it's not like, no, he needs to come face the music. I mean, if the kid's uncomfortable doing it, we're just not the show that's going to say no, we're going to make him uncomfortable. So we said, sure, take a week off, gather your thoughts, and, we'll figure it out from there moving forward. So it was a requested week off, not a scheduled week off. We do have a scheduled week off for him coming up that we knew about in advance. This was just one that was requested. So we're going to honor that. I mean, if he wants to be off, he can be off. So That's it. So no Peyton Thorne this week.
So a chance he could come back?
I mean, I would. You mean come back to play or come back on the show?
I would imagine they may
Both.
go inside.
Yes.
Yeah, I would think that they would go inside.
Yeah.
I think there's a better chance he doesn't on either, but
we'll see. We'll just see what happens. So look, he requested the day off. He didn't, requested if we could skip this week. We told him that's fine with us.
Yeah.
So Josh Pate in his place.
There was an option if we just said, we'd love for you to come on. He would have come on. And
could have. I don't know.
Okay. So Josh Pate takes his place, and we'll talk about everything going on in college football with Josh Pate in Peyton Thorne's place coming up at 9:30 a little bit later on today. It is an interesting weekend in college football. We're excited about this. Before we start really turning the page off of last weekend, I want to go back and just give a big shout out to whoever the athletic director is at Toledo. Toledo cashed some checks this past weekend.
Ken Wall, by the way.
What is his name?
I'm kidding. I have no idea.
Okay.
I was like, God, how did
The
LT
Toledo
know that?
AD is a guy that cashed some checks this past weekend. Maryland wanted to push their game with Toledo this year to 2029 for some reason. So
after Saturday, I definitely want to.
No. This is before the
season.
season.
I know, but I'm saying after Saturday, I would love to. Yeah.
So Toledo cashed some checks this weekend.
Okay.
Toledo was supposed to play Maryland this weekend. Maryland wanted out of the game in the offseason, pushed it to 2029, and paid Toledo $575,000 to push that game back to 2029. They got $500,000 to just not play the game with Maryland this year. And oh, by the way, the AD scoops in, fills a hole on Mississippi State, and makes $1.2 million to go play Mississippi State and win the game in a blowout. So almost $2 million this weekend for the Toledo athletic director. $500,000 to not play a game and a little over $1 million to go beat an SEC team. That's pretty good financial weekend.
He's better than most financial advisors out there.
I would agree. That's pretty good return on investment, too. You got to win out of it.
Isn't that good? I mean, how about Maryland paying $575,000 to get out of a game, to push it with Toledo? That's a good place to be in.
Like these penalties, because Wake paid
$1 million.
I mean, these penalties are crazy to get out of these games. And I don't know what Maryland's deal was. I mean, they didn't. It wasn't that they thought Toledo was going to be good. I mean, there was a scheduling issue, right?
Maybe in the offseason they put in, they're like, who did Maryland play this weekend?
Well, it was supposed to be this past weekend, right? Is that what you're telling me?
I think so, yeah. So it was another Big Ten game, it seemed like, right? They had to squeeze in a Big Ten game?
Maryland last weekend played at Virginia.
Yeah.
And they won 27-13. So
how about they looked at Virginia, looked at Toledo, and said, I think we'd rather play Virginia.
Yeah, I know what that sounds like is I'm going to guess that was a home and home, and Virginia needed that date. And they're like, is it better for us to get Virginia to come to our place next year or Toledo this year?
Yeah.
And they went and won the game, so that was smart on their part, I guess. But
big ticket right there.
Hey, since we're talking finances, and I might get Scott to pull this at some point, but yesterday on Unlocked with Brock was talking about Larry Scott and the way he used to spend money. I don't know if you guys got to hear this, but there was not one but two planes that would go from Beverly Hills, two private jets that would fly out to Bristol for interviews. And he said there was a party jet and there was a non-party jet.
So Larry Scott had a party jet and who was on the party jet?
Well, Brock tells you.
Oh, does he? Yeah. That's a great tease. All right, so Unlocked on our YouTube channel with Brock Hewitt. And Brock tells me who was on the party jet?
Yeah, it tells you the coaches that were on the party jet and the coaches that weren't.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And I was like, that's legit. And he was like, oh, that's 1,000% legitimate.
So why was it flying out of Beverly Hills? The offices were in San Francisco.
I think they had done maybe SEC Media Days in L.A., and then
Pac-12
Pac-12 Media Days in L.A., and then they were flying to Bristol to do the car wash tour.
So a bunch of people were packing up. And
it was all the coaches.
Yeah, okay. Go check out which one was on which plane. I
love it.
I wonder if somebody got Dunaway and wanted to be on the party plane, but that was already full. Somebody has to go on the other plane.
Oh, how miserable would you have been? Yeah, they're just in there talking about, okay, if they show me three receivers on the right side.
Yeah. Just be quiet. We got to in-house. We're going to see Hooch. We're playing Hooch on the in-flight movie. This from Tennessee this morning. Adam Sparks reporting this from Knoxville. Tennessee football tickets, are they lowering them or raising them next year?
They're going to raise those with
I would raise them based on the way they're playing.
Yeah, they're going to raise those.
But here's the interesting thing. They're raising the ticket prices in 2025 with most of the new costs going to talent fee. Talent fee for the players.
Different way of saying NIL, talent fee.
What do you think about that? Let now the fans directly with ticket prices pay for the players who are playing on the field.
Well, I mean, that happens in the NFL, right? I mean, that's part of the Players Association. They're getting a percentage everything. And I think ultimately this is what's going to happen at this level.
You know, I think I had rather. I don't pay these, so I don't know. As if I sit at home watching on TV, right? But let me ask you this: if you were a fan and you had the choice of, like, if your ticket came with a checkbox, all right, let's make you an Alabama fan, Jim. This will be easy. You're an Alabama fan, and your ticket comes with, okay, there is a X amount talent fee, and it's going to go to one of these two places. Which one would you rather go to? Facility upgrades or player recruitment?
You know,
talent fees.
Sometimes you can do your tithing at church.
That's
or
right, you can.
Your charitable donations to certain organizations. You can do that and say, hey, I want this to go to feed children or to help the cancer wing at Children's
Make
Hospital.
Jesus known or whatever. Yeah.
You know, you can do that.
Yeah. Those are all great things.
I would absolutely be okay with that.
But which one would you check? That was what I'm asking you.
I would check the players. I would give it to the players.
Because for years,
I think most would.
Yeah, for years there have been donations that have gone towards making these stadiums bigger and bigger and bigger. What is everybody doing with their stadium now?
They're reducing them.
That's right. And we spent all this money making stadiums bigger because everybody was like, we got to have a bigger stadium, got to have a bigger stadium, got to have a bigger stadium. And now everybody's like, you know what, bigger stadium ain't the thing anymore. We need smaller stadiums. People are staying at home watching on TV. Florida State, what are they doing? They're shrinking their stadium after the best year they've ever had. Or not ever had, but the best year they had in a long time. They're shrinking their stadium.
Good call, by the way.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably a great time to shrink their stadium. So as a fan, I guess I'd rather it go to talent fees, like you said.
I would say that the boosters who have always paid the bills continue to help with the facilities. And then we get into using the TV money, the rights money, and ticket prices in some cases to fund the players. I think the big money boosters would be okay with that. I'm okay with occasionally upgrading our locker rooms, our practice facilities, things like that, new scoreboards. We've been doing that for years. We'll continue to do that at the old big booster companies that have been writing these checks all these years. But this outrageous salary that we've been having to pay on top of that, it's a little too much for some of the boosters. I'm okay with this. In Tennessee, I don't know how many schools are doing this already. At least 10% to God, at least 10% of the ticket price now going to the players.
10% to God, 10% to Tennessee.
Yeah, so Tennessee's a fascinating story right now, man. They are so good.
Yeah, I think you'll see a lot more schools doing this. I would think. I don't know why you wouldn't. At least it's on the up and up. At least if you're a fan, you know that's where it's going.
Our friends at Odie's, always there for you for a great lunch today. That old Diablo sandwich and so much more. LT, tell us about Odie's.
Yeah, stop in for lunch or dinner. Ice cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. Great food, as you mentioned, from Rodney Davis for over 35 years now. Award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches. Stop in, see Will Haver. 2 locations, the original and Crestline. We'll be at that one tomorrow night for Odie's Team Trivia, the newest location in Edgewood. Stop in today for lunch or dinner. It's Odie's Tavern.
And also our friends at the Pants Store, man. You're ready for the games this weekend. How about the Pants Store? They'll get you rolling in the right direction with those name brand polos, hats, and quarter zips for you Bama and Auburn fans out there. It's your game day headquarters. Birmingham locations, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and the OG, the original one right there in Leeds, Alabama. Those name brands include Horn Legend, Cutter and Buck, Antigua, and Gentile. And they've got the rompers and the dresses for all the female fans out there ready to go to cheer on the Tide and the Tigers. And footwear, too, from Hoka, New Balance, and the Western boots to get you ready for the fall season. It all comes with free alterations, free gift wrapping, and they've got gift cards as well for the holiday season. It's all right there at the Pants Store, pantstore.com. Pantstore.com. Nothing says Roll Tide or War Eagle like the Pants Store. We'll get to what was said on campus yesterday, but there is some quarterback shuffling going on, and I want some reaction from you guys. First, in the NFL, Bryce Young benched yesterday. 18 starts. He's 2-16 in his professional career with 11 touchdowns and 13 interceptions. I've never seen a QBR in single digits. His is this year.
Yeah, it's hard to do. Here's what I would say about Bryce Young. I still think it's an incomplete. It's bad organization, a lot of dysfunction, obviously new head coach. So there's a lot of things going on. Doesn't have a lot of playmakers. The offensive line has been terrible. We have seen quarterbacks go to different locations, number one overall guys that have won Heisman trophies. Baker Mayfield, how much better did he look in Tampa last year and this year?
By the way, he
looked in Cleveland.
He was in Carolina at one point.
Yeah, wasn't with the Rams. I mean, a lot of people don't realize this journey that Baker's been on. Sam Darnold now going from the Jets to Minnesota, better system for him. Bryce Young is one of these players. If he gets in the right system, I think he's going to be fine. That's another thing on Unlocked yesterday. Brock was talking about, his nephew was at a lot of the camps with Bryce Young, and he was like, this dude is just like, he's another world. So it's hard to believe that Bryce Young could be as elite as he was less than 2 years ago in the greatest conference in the world in the SEC, and then just be completely an awful quarterback. It just doesn't make any sense. I think change of location is going to be key for Bryce. I don't think he's ever going to get a starting job back under Dave Canales. I really don't.
At Carolina?
Yeah, I think this is a done deal. I really do.
So they're just going to ride Andy Dalton to the first pick?
I think Canales is one of these guys. We'll ride Dalton to the first pick, be a little more competitive, feel things out, see what we want personnel-wise, and they're probably circling their next quarterback.
Wow.
But here's the problem. The organization sucks. This is now being called maybe the worst trade in history. DJ Moore, pretty good and doing well with the Bears.
Mm-hmm.
They gave up a 2023 and a 2024 first-round pick, a 2023 and a 2025 second-round pick, just off of the Bryce Young trade. They were ninth, by the way, they weren't like 23rd. They were ninth and moved up to number 1 to get Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud. So they went all the way up there and chose Bryce over C.J. Stroud.
I will tell you this, C.J. Stroud would be no different.
Yeah, in that situation.
I don't think
agree.
so.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
And from all of this stuff the Bears pulled in, DJ Moore, of course, started this past week doing great. Caleb Williams was the pick they got this past year, whatever he is, but he started. They got Darnell Wright, who started at tackle. They got Tyreek Stevenson, who started at corner. They are getting talent off of just this one trade for Bryce Young.
Well, and I really wonder if in their heads, if they have moved past Bryce Young.
You seem to think they have.
Yeah, I mean, I have. I think it's going to be difficult for him to get this job back. Not that Andy Dalton is a world beater by any means. I just think where they are as an organization, I think it's going to be difficult for him to get this back. But do you think they're stubborn with this because they gave up so much? And I'm looking at it right now. They just rolled it out. Trade of the century they were talking about. But do you think that they're a little bullish? We don't want to get rid of him because of how much we gave up. Because I think right now you could get a second round for Bryce Young.
Well, it's worse if he's sitting on your bench. I think it's worse. It's just a reminder as he runs out there and has a clipboard every week. We gave up all that for the guy who's on the bench.
Yeah, and I just think it's going to be a really awkward situation in the facilities. Let me ask you this: as a Bucs fan, I don't know how much you wouldn't want him.
No.
See, I would love to have him. I would love as a Rams fan to get Bryce Young to come into that system to learn under an offensive coach that really knows what he's doing with weapons around him. Now, obviously, the Rams are banged up. Cooper Kupp might go on IR. Obviously, Puka's already there, so the weapons aren't there right now. But come in and learn under a veteran like a Matt Stafford. It's going to be about location for Bryce Young. If he lands at the right place, I think he's going to be fine.
The quarterback draft that year was pretty bad. I mean, that's the problem. If you were going to draft number 1, like Bryce Young has been a failure so far. We'll see what happens with him. Stroud has been terrific. Anthony Richardson is a unknown?
Unknown still, yeah.
All right, so listen after that. And
I don't think Anthony Richardson would be great. Right now, I'm just
I
saying I don't think he'll be great.
No, I think he's an unknown at Indianapolis. Yeah. If you put him in Carolina, he'd be just as bad as Bryce Young, I think. After that was Will Levis, Hendon Hooker, Jake Haener, Stetson Bennett, Aiden O'Connell, Clayton Tune, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Sean Clifford, Jaron Hall, Tanner McKee, and Max Duggan.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one good quarterback the whole draft. It was C.J. Stroud.
Yeah, I don't know how many of those guys started for the Stallions. You know what I mean?
No, I would agree.
Aiden O'Connell really is the only guy that's had multiple starts, I think.
Yeah, I mean, so that was just a terrible year as it turns out to need quarterback. And I'm with Lance. I don't know that Bryce Young is done in the NFL. He may be done at Carolina, but I think anybody we just talked about that you put in that situation
would have failed. Let me ask you this, because this is another thing. And
I'm
plugging the hell out of Unlocked. But I did talk about the Tua situation. Yeah. And look, you're a former quarterback. Your brothers were quarterbacks. Your nephew, your son's a quarterback. What do you do on this inner circle? Like, what is the conversation you have if you're Tua? Because Brock talks about once he got his second concussion, how easy it was to get brain fog after that.
That's right.
Just at the slightest thing. Yep. So I thought that was really interesting to take a look at, too. But I was going to ask you, let's say that Tua shut it down. Would you be about giving Bryce a shot?
I'd give him a shot. Now, you said second rounder. I don't know. I don't know what you would give up. I'm awful at doing that. Like, what's this trade worth? But I don't think there's a team in the NFL that needs to be better at backup than Miami.
Because of Tua.
Yeah, because you've got a very fragile quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're good enough with a good quarterback to be a playoff team, but when he goes...
See, if I was you, if I was the Miami front office, I'd call today and see if you could move him. And
I would agree with you on that.
Because you've got everything else in place, and just see if, give him a couple of weeks to get the offense down, do a little timing, and then throw him out in a couple of weeks and see what happens.
Yeah, because
Pittsburgh too. Pittsburgh's 2-0, and the offense has been bad.
But and the thing about Bryce Young is he's year 2 of a rookie contract. I'm going to imagine Carolina is going to be on the hook for a lot of that money. You probably get a steal.
Oh, get a steal. And then you've got 2 years to evaluate him.
Yeah, that's right. And if Tua, you'll know in 2 years, you'll know what Tua's going to do with his career, right?
You may know in 2 months.
You might know tomorrow. I don't know. Yeah. He still says he's not considering retirement. We'll see. No, to answer your question, Dunaway, if the Dolphins made that move today, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
And I'm just saying Baker and the chemistry, I don't want to mess that up right now. Not that Bryce isn't going to be a better quarterback than Baker, and I hope Bryce lands somewhere else and makes it. And you're right. The league is riddled with people who are better at their next stop. Look no further than Brett Favre, who was with the Falcons and on the bench, and when he got in there sucked, went to Green Bay and was a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. And I just think it's going to take pieces around him. The problem is his confidence is probably shattered right now.
Yeah. Probably is.
Got to start from square one. Hawk Tua made a good point that you had the Christian McCaffrey, the best in the league, now injured, but when he left Carolina, had the great years in San Francisco. He was good in Carolina, don't get me wrong, but he was a one-man show most of the time.
Well, look at this, what they're talking about right now. In all caps, is Bryce Young the worst number 1 pick ever? Here's what I would say, like Jamarcus Russell is in that conversation. Jamarcus Russell was really good that final year at LSU, but it was more just like physical talent. Bryce Young is a surgeon, and I said this to Brock yesterday, and I think you guys agree with me. The most talented quarterback I've ever seen at Alabama is Bryce Young.
I think I would agree with you, but if he washes out from this point on, that's what he's going to be considered.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
Especially considering what they gave up.
I'm just not willing to say that is it.
Yeah, I don't know if it's done yet. Jamarcus Russell's done. We know that. But if Bryce washes out from here, he'll be considered that.
All right. Show continues with Josh Pate. We get back to college football coming up on the other side. The show being brought to you by Dr. B. We got a big event coming up with Dr. B pretty soon. Looking forward to that. But Dr. B's been taking care of the hair on this side of the table for a long, long time.
Yeah, do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. Brown's doing it as well. Maintaining, even growing more. The hair has doubled in thickness on top. Thanks to our friend, Dr. Beckenstein. For more than 20 years, women and men have turned to Dr. B for a range of cosmetic and reconstructive procedures. He will use that experience, his advanced training and genetic testing to help his patients fully understand the procedures they are considering. Call Dr. B today. Schedule a consultation, 205-319-0316. That's 205-319-0316 or t3hair.net.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
For a great experience in golf, go to Bent Brook, just off I-459 in the Birmingham area. You've got 27 holes where you can play your 18 holes 6 different ways. Open 7 days a week with 5 sets of tees that makes golf enjoyable for any level golfer. You get complimentary GPS on every golf cart, and the AU Victory bent grass greens play as pure as any in the area. Bent Brook continues to improve with upgraded greens and redesigned holes. Book that next tee time right now. BentBrook.com. BentBrook.com.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool-Raid, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
What else could you add to a Talladega weekend than a dang rodeo? They're going to have a rodeo.
Of course.
They've already got concerts, and they've wrestled in barbecue over the years. They've had hot dog / weenie eating contest. And now we're having a rodeo at Talladega, October 4th through the 6th. The rodeo's on that Friday. Truck playoff race, rodeo, Buck-and-Dega. If you're listening to us on AM radio, I said Buckin' with a B, Buck-and-Dega rodeo on Friday. Jake Owen concert on Saturday night after the Xfinity race, and then the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. NASCAR playoff racing. Get your tickets right now. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com, 877-GO-TO-DEGA. He chases storms. I wonder if he's ever rode 3 seconds on a bull named Fu Manchu.
He lives in Nashville. You rode a mechanical, well, you were on a mechanical bull when it started. Josh Pate is with us at Josh Pate CFB. That's where you find him on YouTube as well. What is up, Pate? How are you?
Do you notice, because I'm the same way, when I'm talking about my dear friend Jim Dunaway, how often you start a sentence, but then you have to stop and you have to qualify the sentence. You rode you were on a mechanical bull in Nashville. It's crazy how that happened.
All facts.
It was very bachelorette. Yeah, I looked like I was wearing pink boots when I was up there. It didn't move very fast before I fell.
Hey, so Pate, one thing we've really never gotten into, we've talked movies with you, we've talked storms, we've never talked the NFL, and the only reason I want to bring this up is we were talking about Bryce Young and what the future is for Bryce Young. You saw him less than 2 years ago. The guy was elite. I will stick with it. I've seen a lot of quarterbacks come through Tuscaloosa. I think he's the best I've ever seen, most talented at that level. I still think there's a lot of meat on the bone. What do you think the future for Bryce Young is?
Yeah, still think he could be a star in the league. And granted, I'm not glued to the Sunday product, but I've watched for a long time. I've always run hypothetical scenarios in my head. Like everyone talks about Tom Brady and he's the greatest of all time, but he was in the right situation. I think about guys like Carson Palmer back in the day when he was great statistically all those years for Cincinnati in what was probably not a great organization. I always wondered, Could Carson Palmer actually low-key be one of the best of all time had he been dropped in a little bit better situation? Guys, again, I'm not a hardcore NFL fan. I think there are 31 franchises in that league, and then there's Carolina. And Bryce Young got dropped where the former 32nd franchise used to be. And I really wonder what's going to happen there now. It's not as easy as jumping in the transfer portal in the NFL, but I'm with you. I don't think the guy forgot all the critical factors that made him one of the best that we saw come through the college game. And it wasn't like he lit up the Mountain West late at night or something like that. Like he did it in the SEC. He did it at Alabama.
Yeah, interesting where Bryce is. In the college game, Michigan's making a change with USC coming to town. And Alex Orji goes in there. Do I have his stats right? His whole career, he's 4 of 7 throwing the football.
Yeah, I didn't know it was 7. I thought it was a little bit less. I know he threw it 4 times last week.
Yeah.
He didn't throw it at all last year. Not one time.
Well, what's going on? I mean, USC's improved to me. Their defense has improved. What's about to happen to Michigan, in your opinion?
Here's what was so bad. To answer your question first, so I don't get sidetracked, not much. That's what's going to happen for Michigan. Not a whole lot. It can't. There's no mystery here. There is no let's roll with the backup. He may have insane upside. They wanted this guy to win the job. They built the offense, however you want to judge that, for him to win the job. The problem is he never took the job. So Davis Warren is playing with a supporting cast that outside of a tight end has no elite traits in terms of pass catching, yards after catch, etc. They're not great at anything they do offensively. So that's that. 2 weeks ago, I'm up there for the Texas game, and I am watching Quinn Ewers warm up, but also I'm watching Arch warm up, and I'm watching Texas's 3 warm up. And it is so glaringly obvious there are 3 quarterbacks on Texas's roster infinitely above and beyond anything that Michigan's about to trot out there. And it was a reminder, number one, how good Texas has been at recruiting and developing, and number two, how even at the highest levels, with everything pumped into these programs, if you don't have a quarterback, you don't have a shot.
Klatt was on with us yesterday, and as he said, I've done 1,000 Michigan games, and he was talking about how Wink Martindale is blitzing too much for their personnel. But he pointed out that, Michigan under Harbaugh was in 1 billion one-score games. I mean, it was like every week it was a one-score game. But Harbaugh knew how to manage those one-score games. And by the way, he had a quarterback that could do it. Like, he was managing one-score games with a guy that probably would be starting in the NFL today had he not gotten injured in the preseason. And they don't have that guy anymore. I mean, when I thought Michigan might fall off a little this year, Pate, I may not have thought they were going to fall off enough.
Yeah, well, so that's a good point about the low margin for error. But Jim Harbaugh always ran it like an NFL team. He always ran it like it was a Sunday game. And so that's where he is now. I think a lot of attention was paid on just the players they lost. But we have these examples that almost have your mind working against your logic in that, well, we've seen Georgia lose a bunch of players in the past. We've seen Alabama lose a bunch of players in the past. They're not them. They're not them. Michigan, there's a big difference between being an elite program and being a pretty good to really good program in terms of talent acquisition. Michigan's pretty good to really good. And so if you have that classification and you don't have quarterback figured out and you were always a low margin for error, living on the margin sort of program to begin with, and you lose one of the best head coaches you've ever had and the best head coach in the game going, and then you also lost that quarterback, I don't know, maybe it was the helmet that people thought was just going to be thrown out there and that's worth something. But I said the other day to one of my buddies, I said, if I were to just take this product you've seen from Michigan so far this year and put Iowa uniforms on it, it would track very favorably. You would think that makes sense. That looks like Iowa football. They shouldn't beat Texas. They shouldn't be close. They can't score. They can't move the ball. It's really ugly. It's like watching a bowling ball try and stab someone in an attempt to win a game. But it's Michigan. It's not Iowa. It's just people let whatever defending national champion is supposed to mean, even though there's no belt over your shoulder someone's trying to take from you, they let what that means cloud their vision of what actually is this year. And what is a very average football team.
I do think Michigan's defense still can be elite and win them maybe 8 games. With that said, the team that took the biggest steps backwards, obviously Florida State. And I've never seen this, Pate. They have been favored by a touchdown or more in their first 3 games, and they've lost all straight up. I mean, that's nearly impossible to do. And now you've got Cal coming in, which is the most physical team they've seen all year. Cal is becoming one of those teams I like to watch. I like Mendoza. I was telling these guys, watching him last year in Berkeley, I think he's a really good quarterback. He's one of those quarterbacks I'm shocked people didn't throw money at. Jade Knott really hasn't been healthy yet. Once he comes back as a whole, and it might be this weekend in Tallahassee, they've got their hands full. They might drop to 0-4.
They came out of a bye last week. I mean, remember that. When you watched them against Memphis, that was them gearing up. That was taking the Coke bottle and shaking it up, and they twisted the cap, and you find out, oh, it's one of those commemorative Cokes that went flat in the 90s. I got no shot. Bear Bryant is on the side of this Coke. So it's got to be, I don't care how many millions of dollars you make. I know it provides a nice cushy landing at the end of the night, but it's got to be the most helpless, like soul-crushing feeling if you're Mike Norvell, because it's so obvious. If you talked to the NFL scouts that came through there in fall camp, Nick Saban went and watched him practice and said, hey, I think they're going to win the ACC. It is so obvious. They've got really good players. They don't have a good team. They've got individuals. They don't have a team. And he thought they did. Norvell thought they did. It was no accident. Everyone was saying the same thing about that team coming out of fall camp. They opened practice up to the media, by the way. So media sees everything down there. They were all convinced. And then they come out of the gate cold, and they've stayed cold, and they've gotten colder, and quarterback is very bad for them. And we'll give their defense a little credit. They did show a little bit of pride in performance last game, but it still didn't matter. But now they're 0-3, I guess. We can look to next season. The fan base can look to next season. They've still got to actually trot out there 9 more games. And it's so obvious it's a lost season. But I think, Lance, we're kind of in a weird place in the transfer portal era where you really can go from being 12-0 and an ACC champ to, if you're leaning on the portal, you just have the life sucked out of you the next year. Now, formerly, that would put you on the hot seat. But if you just got a new contract, and we're also in an era where it is feasible that could happen, knowing what teams are made of and knowing how much you're playing roulette trying to use the portal to manufacture that, I think you have to calibrate the way you judge a head coach. I don't mean you excuse it, but I mean, you look at it and you say, yeah, in 1994, this would not be acceptable. And although it's not acceptable in 2024, it's kind of understandable. Caveat, it better be fixed next year.
I do this little sheet with the TV schedule and start times every week for us to take notes on during the week. And during week 3, these guys are like, what a horrible schedule it is. And week 4 is not much better. You sent this out. I had written it down to talk about on the show today, but since you sent it out earlier on your social media, when I am college football commissioner, I'm firing everyone associated with schedule making on day 1. I had written down as a topic today, should we get Fox and ESPN in a room preseason and spread the games out?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about, to sort of spread out the good games and not cluster them all in one spot?
Yes. Okay, so just a couple of quick approaches. I haven't been elected, but when I am elected, that's the first thing I will do. Is it's non-negotiable. Networks, you will get in a room together. We're not going to do it in the spring of 2024 to decide the fall of 2028. There is no reason for those schedules to be finalized anywhere before the spring of the year they're going to be played. The NFL does this every year. There is no reason college football can't do it. And it is mind-boggling to me that a sport that is worth so much cannot get out of its own way when it comes to scheduling and officiating. And we don't have time to talk about the latter, but the former, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how do we know October 12th is coming down the road with like 24 big matchups, it seems like, and we've got to wade through this garbage. The non-conference schedules are terrible, but even beyond that, just the inability for the sport to have sane, like well-reasoned people in a room saying, if these games are going to be played anyway, might we want to spread them out a little bit? Might we want to put a little bit more gold in this bucket here and this bucket there? It's like, it's the second most popular sport in the country. I love it. I will fight for it until the death. But there are things about it, officiating and schedule making in particular, that just, it succeeds in spite of them instead of because of them.
I had a friend over to the house Saturday, Pate, and we were watching Bama and Wisconsin on the main. And they ran the first Big Noon Kick promo, and he said, Did they just say Marshall is the big noon kick next week? And I was like, I think that's what they just said. I rewind it. Yeah. Sure enough. And I'm like, well, USC Michigan is on CBS. And that I don't even have a problem with that. It's fine. They had first pick, obviously. How does the Big Ten not have a second a Saturday game that's worth the crap? I mean, we Marshall and Ohio State is who Klatt and Gus have to go pretend like they're interested in watching?
Hey, you know what? Also, I would say, so USC Michigan is the biggest Big Ten game this week, but CBS has it.
Right.
Even though I'm not going, CBS has it. But the Friday night game, Illinois, Nebraska, that's the other Big Ten.
I know, second best game in the league that week, yes.
It does mean something. Like we'll see a lot of times Georgia and Alabama be favored by 4 touchdowns, but they're playing in primetime on ESPN because I know it means something for those companies to just have that brand there on their airwaves. But whoo, man, I give me the matchups. I don't really care about the brand. Give me the matchups.
Hey, you've got a big voice out there, Pate, so I'm gonna allow you to jump on this bandwagon with me. But really watching Kirk Cignetti and Curtis Rourke and what they did this past week to a bad UCLA team on the road, though, you start to look at this schedule, I think Indiana's going to win 10 games.
Have you just started calling him Coach Sig, like the fan base? You know, the fan base doesn't even use the letters CIG. They just use the cigarette emoji.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Which is still around.
Yeah,
they got rid of the gun emoji, but the cigarette emoji is still there, and they just call him Coach Sig. And how about this? How about 13 seconds into national relevance, he called out the officiating this past week, and he called it a Mickey Mouse operation, paraphrasing, of course. So just good on Coach Sig. Go Indiana.
Yeah, I mean, have you really looked at it, though? I mean, that schedule, if that was, I mean, I don't know. Give me another team in the Big Ten that could possibly win the Big Ten. Like, Iowa's schedule is kind of a joke. Nebraska's schedule kind of a joke. But, I mean, that schedule is very beneficial.
I know down the road, a lot of people in the SEC office watch this show every morning, as they should. I don't know how many people in the Big Ten League office watch the show, but they have got to be pulling the remaining hair they have out of their head at the mere thought of Indiana football making a run to the Big Ten championship. Not in basketball. We are specifically talking football here. Like, can you imagine those people? They think to themselves, we got rid of this problem. We got rid of divisions. Hold on. Being told Indiana's making a run. What? This wasn't supposed to work this way?
Well, I mean, that is a tough question. Who the second best team in the Big Ten is right now?
And they play each other. Like you got Oregon and Ohio State playing each other. You got Penn State and Ohio State playing each other. USC and Penn State play each other. And so if Indiana just lurks the entire season and lets everyone else knock each other off, and then you have 1 or 2 upsets somewhere, I mean, imagine that shark fin popping up offshore, and it surfaces on the beach, and it's Coach Sig, is that you in Indianapolis in December?
As a 31-point underdog to Ohio State, great TV ratings.
Yes.
We've been here before, is what they would say. I got to ask you, because Billy Napier is still saying he 100% sees a path to a 4th season. I think Billy Napier is a good coach. I don't know what's wrong with Florida. It just hasn't worked. Do you see a path for Billy Napier and or Scott Strickland, the athletic director, to be back another season?
I don't think so. I hate the hot seat stuff. Like, I like Billy Napier a lot. They've been great to us. I always have to preface it with that, because I don't take joy in talking about folks losing their jobs. And I know what the follow-up is. There are a lot of folks watching the show. I'd love to get fired for that many millions of dollars. Well, I know a lot of people talk about that as if money is a cure-all, but then again, there are plenty of miserable rich people out there. So it obviously, there's some kind of hole that can be there. There can be a void that's there that money doesn't fill. And I'm not even thinking about the head coach, by the way, when I'm talking about that. I'm thinking about your hundreds of support staff and their families that get affected. And I will tell you guys the same way I told you in the spring when I went down there. I think operationally, Florida is really good to elite. The head coach there notwithstanding, okay? If you want to fire Billy Napier, it's a big boy job and he gets it. But there are a lot of people, sports science, nutrition, strength and conditioning, recruiting operations, that are really good down there, to the point where my fascination right now is, if they make a change, is it AD and head coach or just head coach? I think it'd probably be the former instead of the latter. And then secondly, whoever gets hired down there, when they assess the overall landscape of Florida, I'm not quite sure that's the typical let's flush the entire thing and start over from scratch that taking over a new job would be. Because I think a lot of what you would want to bring in is already there, even if at the very top what you need is not there.
All right, he is host of the Josh Pate College Football Show. You can find that on YouTube. You can follow him at Josh Pate CFB. The whole new Saturday tour is on the way to Norman, Oklahoma for the big game this week, the biggest game in the nation, Tennessee at Oklahoma. It gets talked about like Oklahoma and Josh Heupel are a relationship Taylor Swift would write a song about. Have we oversold that? Is that real, and how will it impact this game?
No. You've undersold
it. That's what I wanted to hear. I wanted bad blood.
Unlike those, this is actually a good song. And I could see after this game, if Heupel wins, if Tennessee wins, you remember, you guys were at the Bama-Tennessee game a couple years ago where they won in Neyland, right?
Dunaway was. He couldn't keep them off the field that night.
Yeah, I was up in Neyland.
Oh, you were there too. I forgot. Yeah.
I was charged with getting Nick Saban off the field safely.
And you did that, right?
Yeah.
It was shaky, though. It was shaky. It took Heupel an hour, 15 minutes to get to his postgame presser, and he reeked of cigar smoke. If this happens in Norman, it may not take that long because it's not a home game. I could just see like red substance staining his face. I could just see the blood dripping down over his chest. He may be shirtless in the post game. It really is that intense. I don't know if we've ever said bloodlust on the show before. Lust, plenty of times.
Yes,
but not bloodlust. That is the best way I could describe how Josh Heupel feels about this show, or this. Not the show. You guys are fine. The game.
Oh, okay. If he feels that way about the show, it's fine, too.
That's right. That's right.
Just talk about us publicly. That's all we want. Josh Pate CFB on Twitter, host of the Josh Pate College Football Show on YouTube. Thank you very much, Pate. Enjoy Norman, and we'll talk again soon.
I'll see you guys.
All right, buddy. Josh Pate with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
Hey, unfortunately, 1 in 5 people just in central Alabama experience food insecurity. Our friends at Milo's Hamburgers, they have joined the fight against hunger. They are inviting you to do the same. All Milo's restaurants will serve as drop locations for food supplies for the Food Bank of Central Alabama from September 4th through September 20th. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, you will get a free regular drink from our friends at Milo's. Stop into one of those convenient locations today for lunch or dinner. It is Milo's.
Also, our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. We just went through a big rain spot. I saw one spot in our hallway up here that even had that brown stain that your roof has leaked there. It only takes one little entry point on top of a roof, even as beautiful as the Blue Lake Center here, to get some water damage in your house. That's where Greg from Pell City comes in, right?
Greg and Luke will get on this roof.
Greg and absolutely. Greg will get on this roof. Greg from Greg Nelson and Storm Restoration Roofing, locally owned for over 20 years, A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau. He and Andrea are trusted by the insurance agency. Free no-cost roof inspection. Just start right there. Free no-cost roof inspection. Jump up on top and let Greg see what's going on. One shingle can cause a major problem. He also handles storm repairs and roof replacements. 205-542-3531 or on Facebook, Greg from Pell City Storm Restoration Roofing. Amazing numbers from an NFL game this past weekend. The Bengals and Chiefs delivered the most watched NFL on CBS game in September since 1998. So the most CBS watched game in the month of September since 1998. Over 28 million viewers watched the Bengals and Chiefs this past weekend.
Well, they, and I don't think it's a secret, they hate each other. And you go back to the 21-22 AFC Championship games where Bengals win 21, and in 22 the Chiefs win. And then this was a really exciting game that came down to a final kick. So, you know, with all that, with the star power at quarterback, with the Taylor Swift element, and she still, by the way, is showing up at games. Yep. You know, it's just a perfect cocktail of eyeballs.
I mean, if CBS could get away with putting them in that 3 o'clock window every Sunday, they would do it. They'd do it in a heartbeat. I mean, they'd love to see the Chiefs play the Cowboys at 3:25 every Sunday. We'll show 16 straight Chiefs-Cowboys games at 3:25.
Well, you know, I think that's the way CBS, when they used to have the NFC product here.
Correct. Yeah.
Back in the day, and they would do the Cowboys in that solo slot as much as they could.
Yeah. I mean, it's good TV. I don't blame them. I don't blame them one bit. Would you rather watch the Chiefs play right now or the Chargers?
Yeah, I'd rather watch the Chiefs.
I'd rather watch the
Chargers are 2-0 as well.
They're good.
By the way, Chiefs in Atlanta, Falcons Sunday Night Football next week, I think.
Yeah, according to Scott last night, that's going to be the Falcons' first shot to get a win is against the Chiefs.
Yep.
He gave up on him early, Jimmy D. He had no
gave
faith.
up. I did too.
Yes.
Yeah, I did too.
I gave up early.
Great night last night in the NFL. All right, we'll talk to Clay Travis at the top of the hour, but I want to get into what Brown talked about quickly here. Rockstar's cut 6, 7, and 8 before we get to Clay at the top of the hour. You talked about bloodlust, or at least Josh Pate did, and this Tennessee-Oklahoma thing. We'll start with Josh Heupel getting just asked about his emotions going back to Oklahoma, and just look at how he's trying to stay within himself during the conversation about Oklahoma.
Well, let's go ahead and get to it.
What are you going to talk about?
Let's talk about Nebraska. You go back into Norman. Have you thought about the emotions when you walk into that stadium?
Yeah, it'll be unique. I had teammates and friends back there. They hit me up a little bit early. They were starting last week already. It'll be unique going back into that stadium. It's going to be a viewpoint. I'm not sure I've ever spent a day on the opposing sideline inside of that stadium, not even for a scrimmage. So it'll be different, but it's one that I'm really looking forward to. There's so many people that have been a huge part of my journey that I get a chance to go back and hopefully get a chance to say hi to a bunch of them. It starts with teammates. It's coaches that I had. It's a lot of coaches that I coached with. There's a lot of personnel that's still there. Guys that I coached, guy that was in my wedding. There's a lot of people back there that I'm familiar with and have a lot of respect for.
Okay, can somebody in 30 seconds, because we've got 2 more sound bites to get to on Josh Heupel, tell me where the bad blood started? Was it when he was on the coaching staff and he got fired?
It was reportedly when Oklahoma had a down season, offense didn't underperform, defense did. Stoops fired him instead of firing his brother.
Yeah, should have fired Mike Stoops.
Yeah.
He was the scapegoat. And can you imagine, though, being in a situation where you love something so much and then you're turned against it?
Yep.
And that's what's happened with Josh Heupel, and that sucks.
And that's what he gets asked here. Next question is, how comfortable are you even talking about Oklahoma?
How comfortable are you with the Oklahoma questions this week? I know you like to focus so much on your team.
I thought I handled the first one really well. So I'm good with any question about Oklahoma. Like the opportunity that I got, from Bob and from Mike to come there and play, what we were able to build there in a short amount of time as a player. But then my coaching career, from, the guys that I played for to all the coaches that were there during my career, all made a huge impact on me, and I wouldn't be here today at Tennessee if I didn't have all of those experiences. So tremendously grateful for all those people, and Brent is somebody that I learned and grew from as a young coach so much, and a ton of respect for him.
Okay, so one more, and then I want to ask you guys how it resonates down to the players.
Yeah.
If it does at all. This is him. He got to ask Oklahoma questions the whole time.
I would imagine.
This was my favorite answer that he gave right here.
What should they expect in terms of atmosphere and crowd noise at Oklahoma?
Should be a great crowd. It's a passionate fan base. I'm expecting them to be extremely quiet for us, out of respect to me and our program too. So.
That's a good answer. That's the reason I asked Pate, is because have we made too much of it, Jim? Because he's never been anything but classy, and I mean that was as well handled as it could be.
Yeah.
But
openly, I think he has.
I know, but everybody who says behind the scenes, it is bloodlust.
Yeah, and I think behind the scenes is where it is right now. It's still hard to believe. What is more hard to believe, that guy was the Heisman runner-up and won a national championship at quarterback, or Nicole Eggert was one of the 5 to 10 best-looking girls in the early 90s? Because I don't know if you've seen her lately, but if you did side-by-sides of both, I don't know what transformation is more amazing.
You're saying he and Nicole Eggert aged about the same?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to be a big Nicole fan.
Oh,
so
everybody don't apologize for that.
It was amazing. I just don't know how it translates down to the kids in the locker room, the Tennessee kids. I mean, I know coaches can tell them, hey, this one's personal to me, and if you love your coach, you go out there and try to make it personal. And in the other locker room, it's the beginning of the SEC. How personal is it for the Oklahoma kids?
I don't know. You never know that, because I think a lot of times we think college football players get focused on the same stuff we as fans get focused on, and most of the time they don't. Is what you learn.
Because it's a lifetime for us.
Yeah.
It's 3 or 4 years for them.
But I'm certain, based on that press conference, that Tennessee players are going to be asked all week about this storyline. So they're going to at least be aware of it
all week.
Yeah. And one guy's going to turn around and is like, "Hey, Tony, I just did an interview. Why is Coach in Oklahoma on the bad terms?
Why is he so pissed? Apparently, he doesn't seem pissed. But are you wonder, is Heupel building it up to his team? I don't think he is. That does not seem like his MO.
Yeah.
That he would tell his team, this is personal for me. If you love me as a coach, you'll put 60 on those turds.
Yeah, as they're saying right there, win one for the Heupel.
That's right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It doesn't roll off the lips. All right, top of the hour, Clay Travis coming up on the other side. Show being brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Guys, as you get older, there are several things you want to do, including, maybe it's time for the vasectomy. Urology Centers of Alabama can do that. They're trusted with 16 locations all over the state of Alabama. Find the one near you by going to the website, urologycentersalabama.com, urologycentersalabama.com, 205-930-0920. Everything from kidney stones all the way to just health everywhere inside your urological tract. Urology Centers of Alabama. Go check them out, urologycentersalabama.com.
Follow Rockstar on Twitter at rockstarbhm.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older. Must be present to win.
By now, you guys know how I feel about my fashion. However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trussville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Rays, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
104 years ago today, the National Football League was founded. It was called the American Football Association, I think, is American Pro Football Association back then. And an automobile dealership, they got together, a bunch of owners, and paid $100 entry fee. Can you name the 2 franchises that still exist from that very first meeting?
And what was the sport?
The NFL.
The NFL, I will say the Bears and the Packers.
It is the Bears and the Cardinals. The Bears were the Decatur Staleys back then. George Halas was at that meeting, George Halas, and they moved, of course, to Chicago, and the Chicago Cardinals, who are now in Arizona.
How about that?
Original members.
I would have gone Giants.
104 years on this day in history. Clay Travis coming up to talk about the biggest game in the country in college football that involves one of the hottest teams in the country, his Tennessee Volunteers.
Let's start by looking back, though, with Clay, the founder of Outkick, at Clay Travis. You see him on Fox as well. First of all, how are you, Clay? Everything good?
Fantastic. I would have guessed Steelers-Giants, so I would have gone 0 for 2 on that. In fact, I did say it. I thought you were asking me. So Steelers.
Clay, before Brown gets to his question, I had some guys reach out to me, and they ran into you at the airport, and they're like, who is Clay's au pair?
Au pair?
Now, is she an au pair and she does social media for you?
Au pair.
She is initially was driving the kids around and still is. We've got 2 assistants in the house now. One of them, the kids, or initially we had a nanny, but my youngest kid turned 10 today. So the boys, I've got 16, 14, and 10. So my boys are getting up there in age where really we just need help kind of getting them around to all the different sporting events because I'm on the road all the time, like stuff like that. So the actual assistance in the household now has shifted. We've had initially, so the nanny started, our first nanny, when our third son was born. And she now has basically shifted to mostly managing me. And like taking care of media availability, so she basically is my personal assistant. And now we've added a second personal assistant, and she is in charge. She has 150,000 followers on TikTok, and I'm not kidding about this. She did a video about being my personal assistant, and it got 2 million views on TikTok. And everybody was blowing up my phone like, hey, I can't believe your assistant is more famous than you by far on TikTok. And so I don't even understand how TikTok works. So I was like, look, I just started a TikTok account. I don't even know how to log in. You are a TikTok savant, basically. So you are now in charge of posting TikTok videos for me and taking them. So she traveled with us because my oldest son wasn't able. He had a school conflict, so I only took 2 of the kids and Laura. So she traveled and made TikTok video. I don't even know how it works. Made TikTok videos for me that have now been watched hundreds of thousands of times. Again, I don't know how any of this works, but she is personal assistant too.
The travel was to Alabama, Wisconsin. You were at Camp Randall Saturday watching your son's favorite team.
Yeah, personally.
Yeah, I know, it kills you. What was your thought of Alabama beating Wisconsin 42-10?
So it's hard to judge the defense because of the injury to Wisconsin's quarterback at the start. But what stood out to me were two things. One, Jalen Milroe's touch. The Ryan Williams touchdown pass to put Bama up 7-3. The double passes at the end of the half, what I thought ended the game. We know his abilities when you get into the read option and just to use his legs as a weapon, particularly down close to the goal line or in third down and short or even fourth and short situations. That can be very, very difficult to defend. So that stood out to me. I know he had 5 touchdowns, but I thought his accuracy on several of those throws was really impressive. Second part was Kalen DeBoer going for the jugular, which stunned me at the end of the first half. I thought, maybe you do that little kind of play that you see everybody run where you put the quarterback in the shotgun and kind of run a draw. And if you pop it for 10 or 15 yards, you take a timeout and decide to try to get into field goal territory. But to go double pass up 14-3 after the missed field goal, I don't know. My 14-year-old son, who was a big Alabama fan, wanted to make sure that I knew that he thought Saban would not have been that aggressive at the end of that game, into that half. But you go up 21-3, double perfect throws, took the air completely out of the stadium. I don't know if you guys were up there at all or not. And then the very next drive to start the third quarter, I think Bama popped like a 30-yard touchdown run, and it was 28-3, and the game was over. So that's what kind of stood out to me was Jalen Milroe's accuracy and then Kalen DeBoer going for the proverbial jugular.
Yeah, your 14-year-old son and I agree on the conservative play calling. I think would have happened the past 17 years there, just playing it by the book. Clay Travis is with us. Can you take what Josh Heupel feels about Oklahoma and translate that into the locker room and make the Tennessee players feel it too? Do you think his hate for Oklahoma going back home is going to be felt by the guys actually wearing the orange and white?
Maybe, but my thing on this, I think Mike Leach, who was a good buddy of mine, God rest his soul, had a good theory on this, which is when you're playing a big game, your guys are going to be so hyped up, you don't need to get them more hyped. I think when you roll into Oklahoma at night, those dudes are going to be off the charts hyped just from the warm-ups and the trash talk that's going to be coming from the fans and the environment and how overwhelming that of a scene that will be. The idea that you need to give them a pep talk, like, look, I mean, does Kirby Smart maybe need to give Georgia a pep talk before the Kentucky game, given how many games they've won in a row, maybe? Am I concerned about whether, Tennessee might show up against Kentucky and not play very well? Yeah. I'm not worried about whether they're going to be locked in and ready to roll at Oklahoma. My bigger concern is Tennessee hasn't been great on the road, by and large. They played a good half last year against Alabama, probably the best half of football they played all last year, did not play well in the second half. In the Heupel era, Tennessee has tended to protect, by and large, the home field advantage at Neyland and played very well there. But they, short of probably the best road game by far in the Heupel era, was going on the road and just whipping LSU a couple of years ago, if you guys remember that. That was kind of the balls are back game that propelled them to the 11-2 22 season and led them to number 1 overall in the playoff. To me, this is, you kind of got a little bit of a test against NC State, neutral site game in Charlotte, passed it, won by 41, complete domination. If Tennessee can beat Oklahoma, and I haven't looked at the line this morning, but I think they're 7.5-point favorites.
Yeah, it's been around 7. I think it was 7 at mybookie.ag this morning when I might have looked at it.
So, yeah, pretty big road favorite considering that Oklahoma is the top 15 team and hasn't lost. But if Tennessee can win this game, and keep Nico healthy, obviously that's big. But if Tennessee can win this game and keep Nico healthy, I think Tennessee will be a playoff team. Because before the season started, I said, look, there's 4 games that I think you got to kind of circle. And maybe you could add Arkansas, though if Tennessee loses to Arkansas coming off a bye week, it's going to be a really big upset in a couple of weeks. But I said if Tennessee can go 2-2 in NC State, Oklahoma, Alabama, and Georgia, then I think the team will go 10-2, and I think 10-2 will get you into the playoff, given how strong the SEC is going to be. And they obviously completely obliterated NC State. If they beat Oklahoma, I think, honestly, Tennessee's going to be in the playoff if they can keep Nico healthy, and it's just a question of, are they going to be able to get into the SEC championship game at that point? Again, that's what I'll take away if Tennessee can win on the road to Oklahoma to get to 4-0. Because, guys, I mean, you tell me what I'm missing. I mean, the rest of the schedule is Mississippi State, Florida, Alabama, and Kentucky. Those are the 4 home games. And then you would have road games at Arkansas, at Vanderbilt, which obviously is not really a road game, and at Georgia. If Tennessee can beat Oklahoma, I don't see how they go worse than 5-2 in the 7 SEC games that I just laid out, and that would get them to 10-2, and I think would punch a ticket into the 12-team playoff. And look, if they could go 11-1, you guys tell me if I don't think anybody's going 12-0. Maybe Georgia could go 12-0, but I actually think Alabama is going to beat Georgia next week. I think 11-1 probably gets you in the SEC championship game, playing for maybe that overall number 1 or number 2 seed.
Clatt believes your Tennessee Vols are the 3rd best team in the SEC when we had him on yesterday. By the way, I disrespected your travel. My guys did say they saw you at the FBO, so you were traveling private for anybody out there that's taking shots at Clay.
Important top.
Hey, I would love if this is true, and I know they send these odds
By the
out.
way, I love that people would be taking shots at me for flying commercial. That's how rich I've become. If I get to be in the airport, I have to be in the private jet.
Just sample our message board one day, Clay. Deion Sanders, he is your favorite if Mike Norvell is fired, which there is not a chance in hell Mike Norvell is fired. But how incredible would it be if Mike Norvell was out at Florida State and Deion took over his alma mater?
That would be crazy. What am I missing? Like, I think that would. First of all, I don't think Mike Norvell is going to get fired. But I haven't been impressed with Deion's recruiting.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't think anybody has.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, if I'm FSU, the last thing I want to do is move on from Mike Norvell and go to Deion. That doesn't mean that, with losing Shedeur Sanders and losing Travis Hunter and his son Shiloh, they have no real, by and large, 4- and 5-star guys that you typically are building a program with. I don't buy in that you can go exclusively portal and be able to compete for championships in college football, which is what he's trying to do. You guys may disagree, but I think you have to go recruiting classes. When you miss on recruits or when you're young at a position and don't think you're ready, that's when you go out and supplement with the transfer portal, add 5, 6, 7 guys at most to help deal with either early departures or whiffs in the recruiting process. I wouldn't want to touch I wouldn't want him if I were FSU. If I were FSU, I would go get somebody like Lane Kiffin, who, when Jackson Dart leaves, is Ole Miss built to be a 10 or 11 win playoff team this year and then to drop off next year? I think there's an argument for that. And so I think the Florida Gators, I think Florida State, anybody out there that's looking for a coach, to me, I would put Lane Kiffin near the top of my list. And here's another guy. If I were them, I would also look at James Franklin. I think there's a good chance Penn State makes the playoff this year, or at least is in the mix. But I'm not sure that he's committed long-term to Penn State. And the other aspect of this, and I hear coaches talk about this all the time, is what is the NIL process at schools? How many schools have big money boosters that are all in? How many universities have leaned into it? Guys, a good example, I think Tennessee flipped their program with Josh Heupel hugely. But if Nico plays as well as I think Nico is going to play over the next 2 years, there are going to be articles written about how Tennessee was like a private equity fund that hit on a superstar. Because remember when Tennessee went and got Nico, people were like, oh my goodness, how in the world could you pay, $2 million for a quarterback? And now everybody, Auburn's paying a guy over $1 million a year that they just benched. Everybody's paying over $1 million a year to their quarterbacks, and most of them aren't first-round draft picks.
All right, he is Clay Travis, founder of Outkick. You can find him on social media at Clay Travis. Thank you very much for the time, Clay.
Appreciate you all. Thanks a lot.
All right, buddy. We'll see you, Clay, with us on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline.
And the show today being brought to you by our friends at HydroLive. HydroLive getting you ready for another big weekend of football that starts on Thursday night with Patriots and Jets on Thursday night. Got a little college football action on Thursday with South Alabama and Appalachian State, and then throughout the weekend again with another football weekend with our friends at HydroLive.
IV therapy, compression therapy, cryotherapy, all under one roof. And now, how about weight loss? HydroLive combines hydration therapy with targeted weight loss treatments. They provide a comprehensive approach to weight management. We have actually got Daniel Jones, our quarterback from HydroLive, coming in this Friday. He is actually going to give us IV bags. Looking forward to that. HydroLive therapy open daily 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. 2 locations in Birmingham to serve you. Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Also a Tuscaloosa location. Very important. Mention the next round. You're going to get 20% off all of these great services. To book an appointment online, hydrolifetherapy.com. Walk-ins welcome as well. Make sure you mention the next round.
All right, Jim mentioned that Thursday night game. Appalachian State an 8-point home favorite over South Alabama. On the NFL side, the Jets a 6.5 point home favorite over the Patriots.
Not big enough. Not big enough.
Patriots very nearly 2-0 right now. That's they just avoided a win.
Beat down. Obnoxious green and white coming down the tracks. I don't even know the Georgia song. But here come the Jets, obnoxious Jet fans,
coming down the tracks,
about to beat the Patriots into the pavement.
Clay mentioned that Oklahoma is a 7-point favorite. Auburn holding it a 3-point favorite. Where I like this, I think the total's too low in this game, 58. Yeah, it's too low. I think it's more points in that game, Auburn and Arkansas. I like over the number there, over the 58. All right. It's just my lean right there. It's my lean early. MyBookie.ag is where you get all those numbers. Code next round when you sign on at MyBookie.ag. When you sign on and give a sign-on bonus, are you putting your deposit? They give you a sign-on bonus. Double your initial deposit. So they're going to double it. So you make a deposit, boom, they add that much, and now you got free money to play with right there at MyBookie.ag. All those games I mentioned, you can play those at MyBookie.ag. Code next round to double that initial deposit. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. MyBookie.ag, code next round. MyBookie.ag, code next round.
All right, 4 downs in this segment. And then next segment, we've got our upset alert. Looking forward to that coming up. And the guru of upset alert finally lost. It was close, 66-7. We'll talk more about that coming up in just a second. A couple of other college football things here. Penn State, it's Clemson that's got the scare. Forrester is Clemson that's got the scariest mascot, I think. But I've always thought one of the crappiest mascots that, back in the 60s and 70s, whenever we started doing sideline mascots in college, they were not well put together. I've always thought Albie's well put together. It's a small elephant, but I always thought Big Al's well put together. That Clemson one is shocking with the eyes. It's like a mascot on meth.
Oh, yeah, it's a methed up tiger. Yeah. There's no doubt. Yeah.
I've always thought the Penn State one is a little trashy looking and stuff, but they got a new one this year, a new looking Penn State mascot. They bought new uniforms. You have to do it occasionally, and there's the new one at the top, and there's the old one at the bottom. Nittany Lions, man. It seems like if we're going to spend the money on a new one, the other one looked like it was the 1970s, but they probably bought it a few years ago.
Outside of the ears, they look exactly the same.
The top one looks like a horse to me.
Yeah, the one on the top, longer teeth. That would be one mean horse. I wouldn't run next to that one in the Derby, Brownie.
Yeah, more like a hyena-kangaroo hybrid.
Yeah, that's a great call, LT. But if I'm going to spend money on a new uniform, I want to change the way it looks a little bit.
I agree.
I don't know what a Nittany Lion looks like. But that ain't it. Yeah. That's more bear, more kangaroo.
You can buy an exotic cat online right now. I don't know why they don't buy one.
And just roll it out?
Yeah, I mean, and have a Nittany lion rolling around.
Yeah, have a live mascot rather than some dude in a costume.
Yeah. Do you put it on 2 leashes and run it out?
I don't know. I mean, sure, Mike the Tiger's able to do it. We were showing his enclosure just a couple of weeks ago.
There is not a worse, more low-rent mascot, though, than Kansas State. I pointed that out to my wife Friday night.
Human with a mascot head?
Human body with a mascot head. It's just like they didn't even try.
It's like, hey, listen, we've got $4,000 we can pay for the head. We can't buy the rest. Can we just buy the head?
The whole suit's $10,000.
Yeah.
Just buy the head for $4,000.
Yeah, no,
he can wear a uniform.
You ever done this? You've done it personally, or been behind somebody in the checkout line at Publix, and you get up there and they're like, boop. I tell you what, I thought that was. Can you put that back?
Yeah, I thought that was 88 cents.
That's what they did when they were. Hey, I tell you what, we'll keep the head. Can you put the bottom back?
I mean, Scott's showing it. That is the most low rent mascot costume
Highly
ever.
functional, though.
I mean, you don't get high.
I mean, you can go from taking snaps to being the mascot. I mean,
it's just bizarre. It's a human with a cat head. I've never quite figured that one out.
Yeah,
that is such a low
and he's
rent.
got a shit-eating grin.
He really does.
Yeah,
like I didn't do it.
At one point, he walks in after a game and he looks at his mom and dad. Hey, look at me, Mom. You want to tell me a story about something here? I don't look like Dad at all.
Was I born a Tech fan? No, son.
Like, you think I can just Google Wildcat for sale?
Like, you buy an actual Wildcat?
Yeah, like I could buy a Wildcat online. Let's see.
You might have to get Tyler to get you on the dark web.
I think we'd have to go
doing
DW.
the four-wheelers.
We have to do dark web there. Speaking of not four-wheelers, four downs, it's brought to you every day by the great folks at Slice, LT.
Yeah, 5 locations for you. The original in Lakeview, Vestavia, Montevallo, Crestline Park. Newest location in Edgewood for lunch or dinner. Stop in, see the Bajaya Brothers, local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Kyle Chandler. You would know him as your coach from Friday Night Lights.
Okay. Whew.
Yeah, Coach Taylor. 59 years old today. If I asked you better show, Bloodline or Friday Night Lights?
Never saw Bloodline. Like Friday Night Lights until he took the college job and I tapped out. But people tell me that was a very
Bloodline with Tulsa King, I think you and Jim both would like.
Okay.
Bloodline really good the first 2 seasons, and then it kind of fell apart.
I was about to say that, LT. So exactly. First 2 years, they had to wrap it up to end the series. Got a little freaky, but first 2 years, fantastic television. Yeah. I did not watch Friday Night Lights when it was on network TV. I went back and watched it later. Loved it. Didn't love it later in the years, but you have to wrap up shows the first 2 or 3 years of Friday Night Lights.
Really good.
Love them both.
Yeah.
Love Coach Taylor. Love Connie as the high school coach's wife.
Yeah.
The hottest she's ever been was on that show right there in the high school T-shirt coming out. Why you're at the office so late? Come on to bed. We'll make it feel better that you lost your starting running back. Love that scene. Good for Connie Britton. I'm gonna go.
You watched?
I did watch one season. I couldn't do it anymore.
Bloodline for me.
Controversial, potentially controversial opinion. I liked the Friday Night Lights series more than the movie.
Me too.
I wasn't huge on the movie.
I wasn't huge on the movie.
I thought
either.
the movie was just okay.
I thought they were both C's.
Yeah, I like the series more than the movie. But
B on the series, C on the movie. I'm with you.
Second down.
Lunceford, of course, likes the movie better.
That's fine.
Probably liked the book better too.
Yeah.
Was it even a book?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was. It was. What was that old boy's
Buzz
name?
Bessinger.
Yeah.
Bessinger, whatever.
I think it's the only thing Yato Cat ever wrote, but he got
kind of a
famous.
dick.
Oh yeah, I remember him one time. What was that show he was on? And he was just all pissed about the
Came
world.
on our show and was a dick.
Yeah.
Okay, so the late John Ritter would have been 54 today. The late Hank Williams Sr. would have been 101 today. Both, obviously, a lot of meat left on the bone. Hank Sr., after his last night at the Redmond Hotel, died at the age of 30. John Ritter died at the age of 54. Who do you think ultimately would have had the better career?
It doesn't get enough credit, country music back then, but I would have said the original Hank Williams Sr.
I don't
would have
think
had a
anything
better
hit
career.
for him until he died, if that makes any sense.
I don't know. I think he had some number one songs. I watched that documentary on PBS, and it seems like he was respected, but he became an icon after he passed. And John Ritter, very talented, but Hank Williams for me.
John Ritter, so good in Sling Blade and Skin Deep. Didn't you see Skin Deep when you were like 5, Rockstar?
We were in Boston. We went to see Skin Deep. Didn't know who saw that Naked Gun in the same weekend.
Okay, Naked Gun, I think you can laugh that off with the kids. The condom, the fluorescent condom sword fight in the dark is a little difficult.
Well, I didn't know what was going on. I just thought it was cool. It was a little cool glow in the dark thing.
I mean, how many times have you heard that song growing up? Hey, good looking, what you got cooking? That's Hank's lyrics. Your cheating heart. I'm so lonesome I could die. I think Elvis covered that one.
He died in 53. I'm just looking at this though. His
Told you,
discography.
he was 30 years old.
Yeah, his discography. discography, excuse me. Almost everything was released after his death.
Yeah.
I did not realize that almost all his studio albums.
And so I think and you wonder, did the
death make it
studio
better?
The guys driving him, rigor mortis had already set in before they figured out he was dead in the backseat of the car.
You've been dead a long time at that point.
I Saw the Light.
Yeah, that's a great song right there. Yeah, good. I mean, that's a gospel song, man. But no, his memorial album was released in 53. Honky Tonkin' released in 54. I Saw the Light in 54. Ramblin' Man in 54. And all that was after his death.
Yeah, Zach Fish is right. John Ritter was great in Bad Santa. Like, John Ritter started to get these character roles as he got, he was doing 8 Things About My Teenage Daughter That I Hate or whatever with the.
I think that was
Kaylee
not the name
Kuliko.
of it, yes.
Whatever it was. They had to change it after he passed away, but had like a major aneurysm at 54. But he was starting to get some really credible, fun parts. I liked Ritter a lot.
Bush writes in and says Hank is the most influential country music artist ever. That's from Ush of the Pentagram.
I mean, that's.
I doubt it, but like he knows more country than I do, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Third down.
Alex Rodriguez. Oh, well, let me go back. Alex Ovechkin is 39 today. Better career, Alex Ovechkin or Alex Rodriguez?
Ovechkin's fantastic. I don't think we all know hockey well enough, but he's good. But A-Rod, 600 home runs? Did he get over 600?
I think he got right at 600.
Right at 600. I'm going to go A-Rod, but that's really close. Ovechkin really good.
I think, help me out here, Lunceford won championship each, yeah. But Ovechkin was just, I think if you got somebody that knows hockey as well as they know baseball, I think they might go Ovechkin.
Yeah, it's really close. And Lunceford can chime in if he's got Ovechkin stats.
Yeah, he's just won one. I'd say Ovechkin's higher in his sport than A-Rod is in baseball, but baseball's just so much bigger that A-Rod is ahead of Ovechkin.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
I would agree with that. CU Buff says Ovechkin never had to use steroids to be good.
Oh, well, we don't
necessarily know that. You don't know that.
But I mean,
nobody cares in the NHL.
Yeah, I know, that's right.
Keep in mind, though, A-Rod, Mariners playoff team, Rangers playoff team when he was there, Yankees a playoff team. I mean, wherever he went, that team was in the playoffs. So
no, look, Alex Rodriguez, one of the 15 greatest I've seen.
Yeah, and you knew he was going to be good even when he was at Miami. You knew he was going to be good. So I'm going to go A-Rod.
Fourth down.
Hard to believe Pat Mahomes still in his 20s, 29 years old today.
Yeah, good to be Pat Mahomes.
Yeah, if I asked you, though, if the career was over right now, who had the better career, Pat Mahomes or Joe Montana?
Super Bowls are 3-2, right?
Did Montana not have 4?
I thought we've had this discussion before.
Yeah, because I think Montana had the 3 and the 2.
Steve Young got the other one.
AM Golfer says A-Rod almost got 700 home runs, 696. I mean, that is rare.
4-time Super Bowl champion. Could we please remember this because we've discussed this before?
I say it all the time. You guys always say 3. I always say 4.
Jim is always right about this. 4-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP. That's hard to do. I'll go Montana.
Me too. Montana.
Yeah, better career Montana. More fun to watch, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Better career Montana.
Really close. So, but you think about how good those San Francisco teams were, and look, I like Montana better than I like Mahomes.
Yeah.
But if Mahomes was off those teams, they don't make the postseason.
Yeah.
San Francisco, I think they were winning games with oh my God, who was the other? Steve Bono, right?
Yeah.
Steve Bono.
To your point, if I had Jerry Rice. And who was the other guy who was really good too?
John Taylor.
John Taylor. Roger Craig running the ball, that great offensive line, that unbelievable defense.
Brent Jones was the tight end, really good tight end. Tom Rathman.
Before that, Dwight Clark.
For
the first Super Bowl. For
that's an unbelievable team. You put Pat Mahomes on that team. I mean, who's Pat Mahomes been throwing to all these years?
Oh, and those San Francisco offensive lines were incredible.
That's right. His numbers would look different, but I think Mahomes would have just as many Super Bowls than Joe Montana with that team. Go back to Terry Bradshaw on that team, put Mahomes on that team. I think he would have won all those Super Bowls as well.
Of all the players you mentioned, though, the only one that is obviously better than Travis Kelce is Jerry Rice.
Well, I mean, who is the 49ers' big tight end? He was
Brent Jones. He is nowhere close to Travis Kelce.
Who was the kid that caught the
Dwight Clark?
Dwight Clark.
Also nowhere close to Travis Kelce.
He was good for that era. He was really good for that era.
I'm just saying, Jerry Rice, would you agree with that? Of all the skill players mentioned here, Jerry Rice is the only one obviously better than Travis Kelce.
Taylor was good. And then you flip to the defense. A lot of good players on that 49ers team.
It's a great team.
Hey, there are Wildcat rescues, by the way, and I didn't have to go to the dark web.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. So we can get Wildcat
I'm just saying.
Aren't they kind of small, though, for a mascot?
I don't know. It's better than Kansas State's option.
No, I
don't you
disagree.
think the Wildcat that needs to be rescued would be in a better spot if Kansas State is actually taking care of it?
If he's living in an enclosure like Mike the Tiger, he would sign right up for that.
Probably would sign off on being put in a cage and rolled around on game day.
Would you rather be on campus in Manhattan or living on that Tiger King's farm?
I want to be in Manhattan.
Yep.
You're forced to eat humans on that.
I'll pass on that.
Force fed.
I bet we don't taste good.
That's 4 Downs, brought to you by our friends at Slice.
5 locations. Get in for a slice and a salad for lunch. Pick up a couple of pies on your way home. SliceBirmingham.com for more information.
And our friends at Precision Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. 205-512-3885. PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024. You may see Precision, their nice logo on a football Friday night. They're there taking care of your kids in your neighborhood, and they'll take care of you too and your kids when they're not playing high school sports. If something happens, they'll diagnose it, treat it, and rehab it for you. All the locations nearest you, like in Alabaster or Fultondale or Jasper, are all around the Birmingham and Central Alabama area. It's orthopedic care better together. Find your provider by calling 205-512-3885 or visit PrecisionSportsOrtho.com/2024.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Stop by the New York Butcher Shop and pick up the finest in certified Angus prime beef steaks and burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, and all-natural chicken cut to order just for you. Their chef-prepared entrees and side dishes are the perfect dinner-to-go choice for your family and are ready to heat at home. With a great selection of fine wines and desserts, the New York Butcher Shop is your one-stop dinner shop. 2 locations to serve you, Cahaba Heights and on Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair to kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Raid, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Upset alert later in this segment. Before we hear from an interesting quote from Hugh Freeze and Kane Womack about the games coming up next for these teams in 2 weeks for Bama, this weekend for Auburn at home against Arkansas. I want to tell you a couple of things that went on yesterday injury-wise. If you think Notre Dame maybe turned the corner the way they beat Purdue 66-7, think again. They lost their starting defensive end and their starting center in that game. They'd already lost a big tackle to start the year. They're not as deep as everyone else, and they are losing major players. Keep that in mind as Notre Dame season progresses. And bad news if you're a Georgia fan, or it could be good news depending on how bad you thought Tate Ratledge's injury was. He'll be out about 6 weeks. He's got an MCL sprain and an ankle injury, and definitely out against Alabama. They're working towards maybe giving it a shot against Texas. But out against Bama, that's a big loss for Georgia.
That's a problem, man. You're talking about one of the 3 to 5 best offensive linemen in all of football, and you've got to go through that gauntlet coming up on the road, and you just struggled against Kentucky?
Yeah, that's interesting. If you're a Wonder fan, you can go to that big game in Tuscaloosa or the big one in Jordan-Hare coming up this weekend and actually earn some points to get some great gear.
Yeah, really cool. First thing you need to do is download this app. There's QR code Scotty's put up right there. Go to the App Store. WonderFan, WUNDERFAN. WonderFan, first of its kind stadium rewards app where sports fans earn real rewards simply by cheering for their favorite team. It's that simple. All you need to do, head to the App Store, download that app, WonderFan, check in once you're at the stadium, and let your earnings grow. It's that easy. During each game you attend, you'll earn in the background once you press start, and once you have enough cash earnings, you can redeem, once you have enough earnings, you can redeem for cash vouchers to your favorite retailers, Dick's, Champion, Lululemon, 47 brand, and more. There's even weekly ticket giveaways. You can use your points to enter. New rewards are added weekly. Again, just head to the App Store, search WonderFan, WUNDERFAN, start being paid for your fan loyalty. WonderFan, it pays to be a fan.
Game knows game. Hugh Freeze is known as a really elite play caller, and he's facing one this weekend in Bobby Petrino. Here's the Auburn coach on what he sees when he looks at Bobby Petrino's offense.
I haven't watched them on offense yet. I was just been watching defense yesterday and this morning. But I did ask DJ yesterday, has anything changed from what he's normally, and he says it's very similar. What makes it so different is just typically has been it's a very, very good mixture of the pro style offense with some of the college flair in it, and doing it out of a lot of big sets with a lot of tight ends that present extra gaps in the run game, but yet he's able to throw all of the 3-level routes and the play actions off of it also. So that's, if you can get in 12 personnel and be effective in running the ball and take shots out of it, it's that's scary. That's a scary world to live in.
Yeah, and that's what Auburn has to face. And boy, you got to stop that run because you got that extra tight end in there, or a tight end set. But where Auburn's secondary was this past week, that second level of pass defense, scary proposition. If Talon throws the ball better than he did last week, he struggled last week.
Well, that's the thing, and that's what I would disagree. The difference in this Bobby Petrino offense is what Talon Green can do with his legs. You guys go back to when Bobby Petrino had opportunities to maybe win championships when he was the head coach at Arkansas, you had quarterbacks like Ryan Mallett and Tyler Wilson. They weren't athletic quarterbacks. Taylor Green was really bad at throwing the football last week, but that different dimension he gives you with that speed and his ability in space to really create the big explosive plays, that's dangerous. And when that guy is on, watch out.
How are you feeling about Auburn's defense right now?
Not good after the first half against New Mexico.
It is weird. Like, first half against Cal pretty much did anything they wanted. Now, I will give Auburn credit. They locked it down more in the second half. First half against New Mexico had anything they wanted. Auburn got a little bit better. So maybe that's the trend. I don't know. I will say scoring defense, which ultimately is what is most important. They're only giving up 14 points a game. It's middle of the pack in the SEC. Total defense, yardage per game, they're nearly last in the Southeastern Conference, middle of the pack in the country. So if teams start cashing in on some of those drives, that does become concerning. I mean, Auburn is a little bit, numbers-wise at least, bend but don't break defensively right now. Yeah, and they haven't played a really good team yet, and that's what scares you, I think.
Well, we keep saying they haven't played a really good team yet, and Cal is getting zero respect.
I think Cal's ACC good. I'm not going to say they're really good. I think Cal's a team that could go 9-3 if it all falls right, 10-2 in the ACC.
This time travel and this geography is real.
Yeah.
You think about Cal goes West Coast east to play Auburn, then they go back out west to play San Diego State. Now they've got to come back to Tallahassee. I mean, I get tired traveling once every 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Now, I'm old, but these dudes are like 2021, but still, that is going to be a grind, and we're still in September. I was bringing that up to say I think Cal might be a slight favorite if this game was neutral site, if they didn't have to fly all the way back. I think Vegas is kind of toying with this line, and I think they might get bit if people have watched Cal, because I think people might be on Cal in this. Cal's a better team. Whether or not they win, we'll see.
Better than Florida State.
They are better than Florida State.
100% agree on that.
So your point is it's 0-3 Florida State hosting 3-0 Cal.
That's right.
But Florida State's the favorite.
Yeah, and it's still a brand. Yeah. And again, there is something that Vegas is looking internally into the travel.
Yeah, I mean,
the travel has been brutal.
3-0 Cal with a win already in an SEC stadium, and they're playing in Tallahassee, which that is already limited capacity. When do people just quit showing up?
Yeah.
Here's the question I would ask you guys. Auburn or Florida State? Who's a better team?
I would take Auburn.
Yeah,
I think if Auburn and Florida State played,
Auburn
really
close,
and
that's why I fully expect this Cal Florida State game is probably going to be really close
because of quarterback. I mean, I think DJ Uiagalelei is struggling, and until they make a change, I don't have faith in him winning any game against anybody. I mean,
I agree.
It's just amazing that you look at Cal, Florida State, and Auburn, and the best quarterback is Cal by far.
Yeah. Landmine believer Dunaway, you were the leader of Cal, wasn't any good before they played Auburn, 100%. But then they beat Auburn. Mm-hmm. They look good again. The way they beat Auburn, I think, will translate. And,
I tell you.
And they're 3-0, and they're behind. They're getting votes, but they're behind Memphis, Syracuse, Boise, UNLV, Boston College, Washington State, Iowa, Arizona, Indiana, then Cal, barely ahead of Liberty and Toledo.
Yeah, Cal's better than a lot of those teams you just mentioned, I think. I've said it all summer. Cal-Miami, sneaky, fascinating game coming up in a couple of weeks.
Especially if Cal wins this game. It'll be really
One
good.
of those. I got a little story on that coming up here in a second.
Okay, upset alert in a second, but one other segment on a couple of things we did yesterday and an amazing story after LT tells us about our friends at Michelson Laser Vision.
205-969-8100, the number that I called more than 2 decades ago. Make that phone call. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. She is going to hook you up with a hassle-free consultation, 0 to lose, to find out if LASIK is right for you. I got the procedure done in 2003. I had the 20/200 vision. I was legally blind. Didn't even realize it. Ran into Herb Winch's car. Brown remembers that, don't you?
Very well.
Because I had to go a week without the contacts, and I was like, you know what? I don't have any glasses. We'll see how bad this is, and couldn't even get out of the parking lot. Anyway, I've got 2015 vision, better than 2020. Make the phone call that I made. Ask about the pre-inflation pricing. Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson, best in the business. 205-969-8100 or michelsonlaservision.com.
Our friends at NASCAR in Talladega back at the world's fastest speedway. The last regular season race is this weekend at Bristol under the lights. Then they get into the playoffs, and then they come to Talladega October 4th through the 6th, Yellowwood 500 weekend. You can get your tickets right there at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Ray. Get you up close and personal with the top cars in NASCAR. Rodeo, the Buck and Dega on Friday, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. This is a couple of years now that we've been behind the Bam Strong local golf tournament. And yesterday, Brownie, E.G., and I were out handing out trophies at that golf tournament, raising money for a great cause, helping out Children's Hospital. There we are at the golf course with Andy Moore and his lovely wife there for a great cause, remembering his son who passed. And I tell you, it's great. And they have one of the great trophies, LT. They have these, for the winning team, these handmade axes that are engraved as a trophy, and it's just a great one, a unique trophy for the winning team. And we have this championship shootout. Top 3 teams do a shootout from right past the clubhouse up on the hill down onto the green. It's always exciting to see what looks like an easy shot, how competitive it is when everyone's watching.
Yeah, if you've ever been to Old Overton, great golf course in the Birmingham area, the clubhouse overlooks the 18th green, and it's about it's a significant drop to the green, and they hit what is slope adjusted about 120-yard shot. Closest to the pin wins the whole tournament. Top 3 teams send one person out, and it's always really fun. The whole tournament stops and gets quiet, and one guy's got to hit a shot in front of them, and they get nervous because we interview them before the shot. Like, what do you think? What are you hitting here? And they're legitimately nervous.
And some of them have been drinking for a while.
Yeah. Did you hear? Are you going to tell the story about the winner? Did you hear the story?
Go ahead.
Did you hear it?
I did not hear it. Yeah.
So each team has a representative to hit the shots, right? So the first team that went, guy hits, and he had a pretty good shot. I mean, it's a tough shot. He had a pretty good shot, and that shot stood through everything else. Each guy got to hit 2 balls, so his second one didn't get closer. Middle guy, his 2 balls didn't get closer. Last guy, his 2 balls didn't get closer. So we interview him, and I could tell he was kind of emotional, but I just thought, he was nervous or whatever, and he had to run to get his clubs. He's kind of out of breath. Andy comes up to me afterwards and says, "You won't believe this." And he says, "I've still got chills, and I've been crying." He goes, "The guy that hit those shots that won, his child just got out of Children's Hospital treatment for ALL, for leukemia, just 2 weeks ago."
Fantastic.
And he goes, he came up to me and thanked me for doing the tournament. And he goes, "I didn't know the guy before." And he said he couldn't even get through thanking me. He was so emotional. And I'm like, "That's the dude that just hit the shots to win?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "It was super personal for him because they're raising money for Children's Hospital." So really cool event, man. And anything that supports Children's Hospital, go support it.
September 29th, they're doing it next year if you want to contact us and play in that tournament out at Old Overton for Bam Strong. Good to have us out there. Good every Tuesday to get to Upset Alert, brought to you by McCurry Car and Van Rental. Rockstar, hit the button, and then we'll tell you about McCurry.
The College Football Spotlight.
Sound the alarm. College football's Upset Alert.
If you need a car, a van, or a truck, you rent from McCurry, the local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of vehicles to choose from. That includes trucks, SUVs, passenger vans, easy in, easy out. Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman, 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa, 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
All right, Upset Alert. You see it flashing there. Let's start with the rules, how we play it. 4.5, man. This week, I don't know if you noticed, the games were there were limited numbers you really wanted to choose because it was either a blowout or it was less than 4.5. Minimum spread 4.5. 5 points for just a cover. 5 points plus the spread for the outright win. And we've got an updated total. The GOAT is still in the lead, but he's coming off of a 66-7. Forrester, you thought, man, leave it. You can leave the Upset Alert up there, but you thought, man, that you had a winner in Purdue.
I felt okay after watching Notre Dame look really awful against Northern Illinois. Yeah.
About midway first half, Scott texted the group and said, "I really should have watched Purdue before I put Notre Dame on Upset Alert."
Yeah.
Might have helped.
LT got the winner this past week. Way to go, LT. Jumps up to 14.
John Metter and the Cougs of Washington State. I showed you guys my T-shirt. I didn't do a drawing last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Did the T-shirt.
I had the T-shirt, yeah.
Dunaway and Lunceford still living off of our first week kill, hanging in there. And Brown, the Brown Bandit, who will join us later on, down in last with one cover in the middle of a 3-game streak there. LT, you will not go first. We'll start with the back room. Let's go back room. Forster, you're in the lead. Let's go first with you. What do you have for us today, sir?
Okay, so after last week, I'm initiating a new policy. If I have not seen the team play, I'm not going to pick them. But we're going to start that next week.
Okay.
I got BYU. BYU is going to take down Kansas State.
I watched some of BYU. By the time I got to that game in Laramie, they were already well in control of it Saturday night. Looked pretty good, though.
Yeah, it's one of those on the tees I gave out to Dunaway. I was like, BYU to pick looks way too easy. I think they're much improved. Kind of finding their footing last year. Bad year, year one in the Big 12. Kalani Sitake's got them playing really good football. They can't match up like – if things break right, they could win this game. Kansas State is a much better team still than BYU.
Yeah, that's a good late game, though. Kansas State at BYU. Good Big 12 after dark in that one.
In Provo, so you got the altitude. What point spread are we playing that one at? Does anybody have it from my
7.5, I think.
7.5. 7.5 is that one. Over to Lunceford. We've ridden together once, and we won. We haven't been together since. Where are you going, Luntz?
I don't know if we'll be together this time or not, but I prefer picking teams I have not watched because I have bias when I watch them.
Oh, interesting.
So I went with Colorado because I watched them and it said, they'll probably get it together. Shitter's good. Nope. And then last week I said, I watched North Texas. They won for me last time. Nope. So this time I'm going with two teams I know nothing about. I'm just picking a game that I think could potentially hit with Ball State plus 6.5 at Central Michigan.
Ball State was the last FBS team, little nugget here, to kick the 2024 season, and I remember the win total went off at 3.5.
That is
so not a big expectation for the Cardinals.
Currently at mybookie.ag, 6.5. If anyone's keeping score here, Ball State is a 6.5 point underdog.
All right, Lance, me or you?
I don't care.
Go ahead, you crank it out there, man.
Do you guys? Can you figure out who this is?
I can.
You've got a green snake.
Close.
It was on my list. I know who it is.
It was on your short list.
That's my Bullhorns.
USF.
That is South Florida. Look, coming off a whipping of Southern Miss. They're sitting at 2-1. They're one loss in Tuscaloosa. I said this team was going to be really good before the season. Now Miami has been next level.
Mm-hmm.
Miami has been kind of naming their scores, and you just wonder, how motivated Miami is going to be going into Tampa to take on South Florida. This is one of those games that Alex Golesh in the offseason specifically mentioned Miami by name. But I think Byron Brown is good enough, and their athletes are good enough to keep them in this game. I'm not trying to get a win here. I'm just trying to cover.
Just go ahead and say it.
I need the points.
This is Alex Golesh's job interview for the Florida job.
Well, it could be. Yeah.
I mean, you beat Miami.
You beat Miami
in Tampa. That's going to get attention in that state.
Yeah, everybody will notice it.
And then people are going to start to dive back into that Alabama game, and they're like, you know what? That really wasn't a 26-point game.
That's right.
Yeah. For me, if it's time to be in the – no. It didn't work for me last week.
That's such good acting. Wow. Georgia
Nice.
Tech
You
going
found kind of
neon.
a yellow there.
I'm going with Georgia Tech this week. They're getting 10.5.
Good luck with that.
Lance Grunin.
Oh, good luck with that.
Yeah.
Plus, they're at Louisville plus
Right.
10.5. What do you know about Louisville, LT? They beat Austin P. You learned nothing.
That's right.
They beat Jack State. You
Who
learned nothing.
hasn't? JSU's 0-3.
They beat Bye last week. You learned nothing.
What do you know about Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech beat Florida State.
Oh,
That's right.
Name
Big
brand.
win. Big win.
They went to Ireland and made it back safely.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they were ranked. I mean, Florida State's like the best thing that happened to Georgia Tech, to Boston College. At least it got them ranked for a week.
Then they beat they lost to Syracuse, but Syracuse is better. Then they beat VMI, a military institute. So now they're on the road to Louisville. Unknown Louisville, untested.
Right, but ultimately could be the best team in the ACC. Could be.
Untested. Anybody going to ask me how I got the yellow?
That looks like a highlighter.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
I'll be using Ajax or Comet to clean the board afterwards. We'll find out.
It was, by the way, it was gold day
Yeah.
for homecoming for Jack, and so he needed some gold. But I had to, there are some shades of fluorescent stuff. Gold is tough to find.
It is.
And the gold that I gave him, remember the old Tupac necklace? I had to take the 45 off of it because I don't think that would probably be allowed. No.
Yeah. All right, it is time for the Brown Bandit to slide in here. Hey, guys.
What's happening?
Hey, boy, he's kind of calm, and the meter changed a little bit.
Listen, it's all business. I mean, y'all think I just sit here and have fun and
I thought you were robbing old ladies now.
Say crazy though. I didn't rob them, Lance. We won that game, baby.
Are you standing? Are you standing on business?
I am standing on business right now. Dunaway, when I say this, what comes to your mind? Did you have to do this? I was thinking you could be trusted. Did you have to ruin what was shining?
Oh,
now it's all rusted.
That is a great Taylor Swift lyric. Initially, I believe, about Katy Perry, though they're now friends. There was bad blood.
Of course they are.
There's bad blood there between them for a little bit, but now they're friends.
You recognize that immediately, didn't you? Bad blood. There's a bad blood matchup this week. I don't know if you guys have heard. Josh Heupel and Tennessee are going to Oklahoma.
Oh, machine. Tennessee Volunteers are a machine.
They are. They've been a machine, yes. And Heupel's got bad blood in this game.
Oh, he does.
He was once turned away to Barnhill's Buffet in Norman, and he is very upset about that. So he is pissed off, and he's going to take it out on Oklahoma, is what everybody seems to think.
Ooh, well, a lot of people are saying Jackson Arnold has a lot of blank spaces. Not filling him in on the offensive side of the football. No,
did I hand you a script?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Just trying to help.
So I have looked deeply into this game, and here's what I found. Excuse me while I pull up. I just need to. Last year, Tennessee scored 31 points a game, 19 on the road. Year before, 46 points a game, 36 on the road. That's a trend. Teams are worse on the road. I get it, but their scoring significantly drops off on the road. Where's this game played?
It's on the road.
Yeah, it is.
It's on the road. It's in Norman. For that reason, the Boomer Sooners plus 7.5. Yeah, that's a flag in the NFL. Did you just shoot a gun in the air?
I did. Of course.
Now they're giving me 7.5 points. They're giving me 7.5 points. Do you think I need them?
Rockstar?
Rockstar, do I need them?
Hell no!
No, I do absolutely need them. Tennessee's going to win this game. Tennessee is going to win this game, but Oklahoma plays it within the 7.5.
Well,
this is a tight game late. That's what I just said.
Okay.
If you would quit reading the script I didn't give you and listen to me, you would know I need the points, but Oklahoma inside the number. If they happen to win, I will take 12.5 points in our little silly game you guys play here. But I'm just giving you winners. Oklahoma plus the 7.5 Boomer Sooner.
Well, we're to the point now that even the Brown Bandits trying to just get 5.
Hey, listen, I've done that before. I've done that before. You got Scott said, you got to sometimes reevaluate how you do things. Now, he reevaluated how he do things.
You just did a base hit, man.
That's right. This is a slump buster.
Yeah.
I'm busting the slump here. We're going with Oklahoma to bust the slump.
Well, that is a tight needle to thread, though.
What, win but cover the 7, or lose but cover the 7.5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to happen. You watch. Everybody, the whole world's going to be on Tennessee.
Forster, Lunceford, y'all playing to win or just get to 5? I mean, I took Georgia Tech to win the game outright, I think.
I mean, I'm playing to win because even if he gets his 5, he'll still be in last place.
Yeah.
It's a marathon, not a sprint, Lance.
I think I got a shot.
Yeah.
You got to not fall off the starting line if you're going to win the marathon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I think you got a shot too, man.
Talk now in week 4.
Yeah. And LT, you said I'm just playing to get
I'm just playing for the
points.
points. Yeah, I mean, because I think Georgia Tech gets walked off the field. Tennessee probably walks Oklahoma off the field. I hate to say that because I know that public money, like you said, is all over
the
Tennessee.
way you play and the way you pay attention to public money, it's going to be all over Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
That is our upset alert today, brought to you by McCurry Car and Van Rental.
That's right. Rent from McCurry. They make it super easy, in and out fast. The best place to start, McCurryRentals.com. That is McCurryRentals.com. Or 256-559-1003.
And also our great friends with Hemp Hill. They probably now have LT's house dialed in at least until October. They'll be back out there probably to fix the heat right then.
Possibly. Trusted name. Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Tell them the next round sent you. Hard to stop a train. For more information, 205-229-2090 or hemphillservices.com.
I just like Haynes King on the road at Louisville. You're giving Haynes King no respect. By the way, today it started at 9 a.m. Pre-sale for the Auburn-Purdue game here in Birmingham. So if you're part of the pre-sale list, you can buy them for a couple of days. Public tickets go on sale Friday at 9 a.m. for that December 21st Purdue-Auburn game down at Legacy Arena. And last night, Mets walk it off against the Nationals. Dodgers beat the Braves, so the Mets are in the playoffs right now. The Braves are not. A new pennant race coming up a little bit later on today. A couple of episodes this week right here on our platform with E.G. and Ush. When we come back, we get to the final hour of the show. More college football to talk about. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's, world famous fried chicken. Champy's Chicken right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. It's the 11 o'clock hour, and Champy's always brings you this on the show, just like they bring you great lunch every day. Brined overnight, cooked to order. It's champy'schicken.com.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. Bright Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Our friends at Milo's Hamburger invites you to join them in the fight against hunger in our local communities by bringing non-perishable food items to your local Milo's, including canned goods. When you donate a canned good or any non-perishable food item, Milo's will give you a free drink. Together, we can make a difference. Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations. Hey, for all of your IT and printing needs, reach out to our friends at Xerox Business Solutions. Look, I'm still one of those old school guys. I print my notes every single day for the show. If you watch the show here on the Next Round, you see all the notes in front of me. From day one, Xerox Business Solutions, they've been with us here at the Next Round. Local for over 45 years. For all of your IT and printing needs, visit XeroxBusinessSolutions.com or call 205-969-3000. That's 205-969-3000.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
If you just can't wait until 9 a.m. Monday to hear all the headlines from the weekend, wake up to Monday Morning Live with Dunaway and Tom Luganbill. Mondays at 7 a.m. All we're asking for is you to not hit that snooze button on Mondays. Sleep in the rest of the week.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown, and Rockstar. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
New hour of the show brought to you by our friends at Champy's. You know, Clay Travis earlier said something very interesting, and I wanted to circle back to that. We'll get a little college football, a little NFL in this segment before we get to trash today. LTD&B, all the guys in the back room, including Rockstar, Lunceford, Forrester, and Tyler back there, EG, and Taylor Korn, working on projects, including our social media platform with Taylor there at Next Round Live. Like and subscribe and give us a thumbs up. He says if Billy Napier can't save it, whether Scott Strickland survives or not, one name he threw in there was James Franklin. I mean, most people will instantly point to Alex Golesh at USF, especially if he beats Miami this weekend. I think some people may consider Florida Atlantic's Tom Herman with his resume for a job like this. But here's James Franklin. And in his time at Penn State, he shopped himself around a couple of times. At least he says he has. Yeah. I don't know if he would use Florida if it came open as just an opportunity to get more money. But is James Franklin, you think, would that be a good move for him to restart the clock at a place like Florida? Would Penn State fans even be upset?
No, I don't think they would. And I think for James Franklin, it would make a lot of sense. If I'm a Florida fan, I'm disgusted. I don't know what you want if you're a Florida fan. You're not going to give whoever gets the job any patience. So whoever gets it better win in 2 years. And I just don't know who that guy out there is. Do you take a shot with a Group 5 guy like an Alex Golesh? Boy, I will tell you, man, I know it's early on this Kurt Signetti thing.
Oh, look out. Lance has found a guy now. Coach Sig.
Just watching him coach for a full 60 minutes and I don't know. And maybe it's just a guy that's learned a little off a guy like Nick Saban. But, all these guys are going to be roll the dice. You're not going to get an established guy to come to Florida.
Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Is James Franklin at a premier program with all the resources he could ask for?
Yeah.
Do you think so?
I think so.
I think so, but I don't know enough about Penn State's NIL.
I don't either. But that's the unknown. We used to not know about facilities, but now you see so much about facilities. Now it's NIL.
But he's one of those guys that would call it out if it was a bad NIL. Would
probably
you not agree
so.
with that?
The way he operates, I think he'd be publicly critical of it.
Probably so.
All right. So at that program, he has coached 38 games against AP ranked team. Have they played a ranked team this year? West Virginia was not ranked. No, they've not played a ranked team. This is going into this season. 38 games against ranked teams. 38. What do you think his record is?
I think he is 13-25.
I think he's 10-28.
Y'all were right around it, 12-26. He's played 20 games against AP ranked top 10 teams, and 20 games. What's his record?
I think he's 2-18.
I think he's 1-19.
3-17. Yeah. If you're a Florida fan, does that excite you
No,
at all? Because
here's the problem: you're playing top 10, top 25 every week.
Bingo.
Yeah,
that's why. Go look at Florida's schedule. If he's 12-26 against ranked teams, what's it going to be this year on Florida's schedule?
Yeah. To your point, like Oklahoma, their next 8 games, 5 of them are against teams in the top 7.
Yeah.
I'll say it again for you in the back. Oklahoma's next 8 games, 5 are against teams in the top 7.
And if you go 2-3 in that stretch, that's really not all that bad against top 7 teams. But you know what that's going to do? It's going to keep you out of the playoffs. 3 losses, you're not in the playoffs. I mean, that's just life as a Southeastern Conference coach. And James Franklin, we have got plenty of evidence, though he is coached in the SEC, to show that he can't handle an SEC schedule. I mean, if you can't do it at Penn State, and you say Tom Herman, if I'm a Florida fan, I'm like, we tried that with Will Muschamp. Everybody was like, Will Muschamp didn't work out. Give him a premier job like Florida. I mean, everybody has tried that with Will Muschamp. Will Muschamp has shown you he's not a good head coach. I mean, Tom Herman, he's been the coach now at Texas, Jim, and it didn't work. You're going to hand him the keys to a I don't know what kind of car they are. I was going to say Porsche. I really don't know what kind of car Florida is.
I still think Florida is a top 15 job.
Can I tell you? I'm going to throw a name out here. And you just tell me if you would take it. If you were this guy, and if you'd be interested, if you're the other side. What do you guys think of Shane Beamer in Columbia, South Carolina?
I haven't seen enough.
I think we like Shane Beamer because he came on this show and was a good interview, and that shades the way we think of him.
Do you not think South Carolina is better this year than we thought they were going to be?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they really ought to be 2.
Well, they should have lost to Old Dominion.
That's true. It is hard to say. They ought to be 2.
So,
3-0.
3-0.
I don't know. How good is LSU?
I don't know.
How good is Kentucky? It's been a weird 3 weeks.
I don't think Kentucky's very good. Now, it's hard to say when they just played Georgia 13-12. I don't know, Jim.
Do you know who the favorite is to get the job, at least in Vegas right now?
To get the Florida job?
Yeah. And I got these odds randomly right in front of me.
Can we guess before you tell me?
Yeah, and just to let you know, way down the list was Shane Beamer at 25-1. He was right there with Jeff Brom and Mark Stoops.
I'm going to say,
and Gus Malzahn.
I need everyone to hear what I'm about to say. I am not saying I think he would take it or I think he should take it, but I think the odds are going to be Lane Kiffin.
Oh, I think that is probably the odds, but I don't think he would take it. What do you think of Mike Gundy? He's always wanted to
his
leave.
look would fit Florida. He could wear jorts, literally coaching in the swamp, and I think Florida fans would absolutely love it. Let me see if Gundy's on this list. He is on the list at 66-1.
I mean, I feel like, it was funny. Did you
think there's worse hires.
Did you guys see the graphic in the Bama game where they did the most consecutive winning seasons?
Yeah, and Wisconsin
was 1. Alabama was 3.
I kind of thought it was Wisconsin.
But did you see it was 2, though? It was Oklahoma State.
I thought Bama was 4th, but they
were third.
They were right there, yeah.
So anyway, it's Lane Kiffin is the second shortest odds at 5-1. Jamie Chadwell at Liberty is your favorite right now.
Ooh.
I know. He did build Coastal Carolina.
He did.
And I tell you, Grayson McCall really dropped off when he left last year.
Boy, and they're about to they could go undefeated at Liberty, so boy, I don't know, man. Does that excite you if you're a Florida fan, Jamie Chadwell? I feel like I hired Billy Napier again. That's what I tried to do with Billy Napier.
Yeah, here's the name to look out for, Eli Drinkwitz.
I thought about, instead of saying Shane Beamer, saying Eli Drinkwitz. But for some reason, and I know this is weird, I know he's got the number 7 team in the country and may win the national championship. I don't know. I'm just
I'm going to bet against him.
Yeah, I am too.
I'm just saying. I don't know. I don't know if he's a great coach.
Who? Drink?
Eli.
I don't know. I mean, if he gets to a college football playoff this year and wins a game, I don't know how you could question him.
It'd be tough to question if he wins a game in the playoffs. I agree with Lance.
Because they have a target. And look, and they were down this past week, and I didn't think they looked exceptionally good, but they still found a way to beat I would say, an 8-win Boston College team.
He's thought of as an innovative offensive mind. And if I'm Florida, I say, where have we been successful? When we've hired an innovative offensive mind, right? I mean, the 2 times they've had any sustained success in the history of their program were under Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer. And those are 2 guys that were really good offensive coaches. So I think that matters.
I think it matters.
I mean, I think that matters. I think if I'm Florida, I look at that and I say, I'm going to go find a really good. Now, I think that's Alex Golish. I guess it's Eli Drinkwitz. I mean, I think I'm on the island with Eli Drinkwitz saying he's overrated.
I don't think you want to be on that island.
No, I don't mean I'm with him. Yeah. I'm on the island about him. I would go get an innovative offensive mind, though. That's where I would make my hire. I wouldn't look at defensive guys like they did with Muschamp. I'd go with an offensive guy.
Again, Billy Napier thinks there's a path to a 4th season for him, 100%, he says yesterday. Meanwhile, reports are big boosters have already gotten together and committed $26 million over the course of the contract to buy him out. The initial payment would be about $12.5 million within 30 days of his firing, and then it would be payments for the rest of his contract. And they say they've got booster money, not even having to pull out of anything else to pay him out.
Matt Campbell, I think he is resurfacing after the win against Iowa, especially they came back from double digits.
They pulled that out of there,
They did, but I think Iowa State's going to be a contender in the Big 12, so, maybe his name gets back in, and if you wanted to take a look at, he's a former MAC coach. You brought up Jason Candle. Jason Candle's 38 years old.
There's no way he's 38 years old. He's been there 9 years.
He has been there 9 years. Is 38 wrong?
I don't know.
Maybe 45.
I'm just saying.
Maybe 45.
It seems like 38 is wrong to me.
In 9 years, he's never had a losing year.
Yeah.
Jason Candle, he's 44.
Okay.
Yeah.
His hat's 38.
Yeah.
He wears a raggedy
That's
hat.
Matt Campbell.
Oh.
Yeah, he's talking about Jason Candle at Toledo.
No, Jason Candle's the guy in the hat.
I've never seen him wear a hat.
Oh,
but Candle wears a hat.
Yeah,
okay. But Matt Campbell is more
Matt
known
Campbell's
for
got
his
the
hat.
ratty hat that he wears too. So I thought.
Anyway, I'm just you lose your starting quarterback who Baylor pays to get, and then you go in, you collect $1.5 million check, and you beat the brains out of Mississippi State.
That was a good win.
Well, CU and the Buff said in the mybookie.ag chat room, there's not an SEC program that you can't accomplish there. What you can't accomplish in Florida. In other words, you can accomplish it anywhere else in the SEC. I would disagree with that. I mean, there are obvious ones like Vanderbilt and Mississippi State. I just don't think you can reach the heights there that you can in Florida. I just don't think they devote enough resources. But you're closer in most. That's the thing I would say about Lane Kiffin. What can he do at Florida that he can't do it.
No,
Ole Miss.
I wouldn't leave
No,
Ole Miss.
I wouldn't either.
I would leave Missouri for Florida.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a few that you can't, but I think there are more than ever now that you can accomplish at that program anything you can accomplish at Florida, and that makes this more difficult for the Gators.
Inverness Country Club bringing you this part of the show today. A little bit more college football and then an NFL question. Before we get to trash today, Inverness Country Club will take the trash mentally out of your brain and relax you, whether it's a round of golf, a day at the swimming pool, or maybe it's just a good dinner out. Unbelievable food at Inverness Country Club.
Yeah, find your sense of membership at Inverness Country Club. They've got memberships that actually fit everyone. Resort-style pool with the social membership, full-service cabana, bar, live music on Friday nights, Sunday brunch, the golf membership, beautiful course, currently expanding the driving range. Child care, also a big plus. You and your wife want a day of golf or tennis. Guess what? You can drop the kid, go have yourself a day on the court or course. Dinner with friends, knowing your kid is safe on site, massive plus. Maybe you relocated to retired. Inverness is a great place to network. You can meet others in the community. To take a tour of this unbelievable club, call Aaron today, 205-991-8608, 205-991-8608, or online, iccalabama.com.
Real quick, Brandon Marcello yesterday in the Middle Eight talking, and this is a name none of us mentioned. He said he was a little surprised because some people behind the scenes had said Jed Fish wanted the Florida job, that he was surprised Fish didn't stay at Arizona with that roster coming back and wait out Billy Napier there rather than jump at the Washington job.
Would make more sense.
Now,
I mean, the Washington job with the travel you're going to have to endure.
Yeah.
You know, California is one thing. Cal is going through crazy stuff.
Oh, there's no doubt. And at least you're doing it with a bigger budget at Washington because you're in the Big Ten than Cal is with the ACC. If you wanted to hire Jed Fish, though, do not watch the last 2 minutes of that game Saturday. That's going to run you. It's going to run you right off from Jed Fish.
He said in his news conference yesterday, when asked about the play call, if he regretted it, he said no, that if it had been executed, it would have scored a touchdown.
They were outnumbered like 5-2.
Did he really say that?
That is the dumbest thing you could say. That's what, yes, I regret the play. It was a terrible play call.
Terrible play call. Own it.
Yep. I called it in the timeout. That is 1,000% on me.
And the show also today being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Those betting odds are up. We've talked about the chat room today and our friends at MyBookie. Tell us, Brownie, mybookie.ag. They've got that bonus, right?
They do. When you use code NEXTROUND and sign on at mybookie.ag, they will double your initial deposit there. So you're playing with free money right away at mybookie.ag. If you want to play the NFL games this coming weekend, both those Monday night games, by the way, on there. Buffalo a 5.5 point home favorite over Jacksonville. Cincinnati an 8-point home favorite over the Commanders. All the NFL Week 3 action, all college football Week 4 action, right there at mybookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND to double that initial sign-on. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with mybookie.ag. Code NEXTROUND.
Everybody puts out a power ranking every week in the National Football League. It changes on wins and losses. If we give you Kansas City's the best team in the National Football League, I don't even know if you think that is true.
I don't.
Who do you think is the best team in the National Football League?
I mean, as soon as you say that, I pull back a little bit. I don't know. You know, San Francisco looked bad on the road without Christian McCaffrey. Looked so good week 1 without him.
The team that has looked best is New Orleans, but some of that's a function of who they've played.
I mean, if you said Kansas City was the best team.
I saw 3 power rankings on.
I think Buffalo looks really good early.
Yahoo, Athletic, and one other one, maybe Bleacher Report. And they all had Kansas City 1. And 2 of the 3 had this team second. And I'm just not buying it to this point, but I guess at some point we got to respect the Houston Texans, or the Texans into your conversation as a top 5 NFL team right now.
If you said that, I could buy it. You know, watching them, they were lucky to survive Indianapolis in week 1.
Nico Collins is a beast.
He is. You know, they're at the Vikings, who are 2-0, by the way.
I thought
they're at the Vikings Sunday. That's a fascinating game.
Yeah, I think they lose that game.
You think so?
Mm-hmm.
Tough place to play, and the Vikings are 2-0. I don't think you'd put them because of their quarterback situation in this discussion, though Sam Darnold has them at 2-0, so I don't know why I'm digging him.
You know, they really didn't look good Sunday night against the Bears. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they're 2-0.
Who looked good was Nico Collins. The guy's really, really good. Mechie still working his way back into that lineup as they improve that wide receiver core with Stephon Diggs, and the running game, and D'Amico Ryan's doing a great job year 2, and a lot of expectations for them now. Well, looking forward to another week of football, cranking back up Thursday night with the NFL. I know your Falcon fans are still buzzing after the win last night, and I'll never understand the defense you play late in games to give the quarterback time enough to march it down the field. We see it all the time, and it happened again last night with the Falcons winning in 106
Were you pulling for the
seconds.
Eagles?
I was actually pulling for the Falcons. I told Brown earlier in the day that I treat the NFC South like the SEC. When we're playing out of division, I'm like,
That makes
NFC South.
That makes no sense.
It does. And I just wanted the Falcons to win because I'd predicted them to have a really good year.
You're just wanting to be.
Boy, I pull
right,
against any NFC West teams.
I was watching the Manning cast last night, and Peyton said in 2-minute drives, you were talking about 2-minute defense. He's like, 2-minute drives. He goes, 2 mandatory things. Number 1, positive first play. He said if any 2-minute drive is going to be successful, it almost always has to have a positive first play. And he said, and within the first 3 or 4 plays, we've got to have a chunk play. And sure enough, I mean, the Falcons right away positive first play and chunk play on the second play. And chunk play for him is 20-plus yards. And he's like, any good 2-minute drill has that. And you start thinking about it, and you're kind of right. It's got a positive first play and a chunk play. It was just so fascinating listening to he and Matt Ryan and Eli break down that 2-minute drill at the end. They were spot on in everything they said.
Right now, 5 SEC teams back to college football has a 58% or better chance of making the playoffs. Is 5 too far from one conference in the 12-team playoff? Because right now, Texas is 1, Georgia 2, Bama 4, Ole Miss 5, Tennessee 6, Missouri 7 in the AP rankings. And Missouri's not part of this group, but all the others, Tennessee, Ole Miss, Bama, Georgia, Texas, at the ESPN playoff projection, have a 58% or higher chance to make the playoffs right now.
I think people will bitch and complain once the field is set, and once we get into play, I think it will kind of die down, and I think it will become the norm. I think it's going to be really difficult for the SEC not to get 5 in, just because I think there's going to be a handful of 10-2 teams.
Yeah, you've got to include 6, though, I think, that are from watching the SEC, 6 that I can't eliminate right now. And they are, of course, Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Missouri, Tennessee, and Ole Miss. I mean, you can't really eliminate those right now, can you? From what you've seen.
No, and I think one will take care of themselves, but I think there will be 5. And a lot of my belief on that is I thought the Big Ten would be better than it is. Now, Oregon's still 3-0. Oregon can still be an elite team. You know, USC is still a team that is undefeated.
Am I right? And I've heard some Alabama fans say this, that if they beat Georgia, if Alabama beats Georgia at home with President Trump, former President Trump in attendance, as you all probably have heard by now, which would be his 3rd Alabama game as either president or a candidate.
I think he's going to get the votes, whether or not he comes to Tuscaloosa.
I would say he's safe there.
Georgia is the fan base he's hitting, trying to get the votes over in Georgia. It's a closer vote there. But for Alabama, if they beat Georgia in that contest, that gives them wiggle room down the road to lose 2 more games. You could lose on the road at Tennessee. You could lose on the road at LSU or to home to Missouri and still be a playoff team at 10-2.
Yeah.
That's how big this is. With this playoffs the way it's set now, you sort of, and I know it's dangerous because we did this with Notre Dame, but you can sort of look at your schedule and say, boy, if I win that game, I've got this much guardrail that I can spaced before I hit the guardrails that I can go towards the playoffs.
I want to get until October 1st. I thought I knew a lot coming out of week 1. I knew nothing. These 3 weeks have been insane. So I want to get to October, and I think you've got a better feel. I will say, though, and I think I said this yesterday, I do believe the way the weekend played out was kind of a worst case for Alabama.
Right.
Winning, going away, and then Georgia struggling till the last minute, and now both have a bye. Yeah, I mean, Kirby's going to have 2 weeks to work on these guys. And I fully expect Georgia to play, best football we've seen them play this year, and that's scary considering what they did to Clemson.
But I would agree if Alabama beats Georgia, I mean, you can find 2 losses on that schedule. It's hard to find 3, right? I mean, if they beat Georgia, how hard is it to find 3 losses?
Georgia, I could find the loss definitely at Tennessee.
Yeah, that's easy
at
to
LSU.
see.
I mean, I think we'll know more about Oklahoma. Oklahoma's run defense has been really good. Their offensive line's been really bad. Now you've got Tennessee coming in. If Oklahoma beats Tennessee in their first SEC game, then we're like, damn, Oklahoma's better than we thought.
Yeah. It all changes. But big game coming up in a couple of weeks for both Alabama and Georgia. Just not the end-all, be-all that it would have been in the past. We will take a moment here to recognize a story that Peter Burns shared on the air yesterday. We'll get to that story. It's our New York Butcher Enjoy Life While You Can moment here.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, it's an amazing story. I'm going to let Brown tell it, but Peter was in tears yesterday. We've got a picture of Jack Foster with Peter Burns at the barbecue place in Columbia. And Brown will pick up the story and tell you how Jack Foster saved Peter Burns' life. Brownie?
So Burnsy is eating Friday night in this barbecue joint. Looks like a good place, by the way, up in Como. And gets choked on a piece of meat. A piece of meat caught in his windpipe. And that has only happened to me one time in my life. I was able to dislodge it with a cough, but it is an immediately alarming situation.
Like, knees go weak.
Yeah, the minute it happens, like
complete panic, blackout almost.
Yeah. Wait for this.
Yeah.
This gets crazy.
So Burns realizes it's happening, and his table realizes it too. So someone at his table gets up and tries the Heimlich to get it out. Can't dislodge it. Huh?
Stinchcomb was the first guy to try.
Yeah, it's a pretty big dude, by the way.
Yeah.
Stinchcomb can't do it. So someone else takes over and tries it, can't do it. And Burnsy's like, man, the clock is ticking and I cannot breathe. And I'm starting to, get foggy. And so a nurse is like, I'm a medical professional. Let me try. Nurse tries it, can't dislodge it.
Now we're approaching 2 minutes.
Yeah. And he's
it
like,
was 2 minutes?
Yeah.
We're approaching 2 minutes.
I don't know that anybody ran the clock on this, but I think they've estimated it somewhere around 2 minutes.
I went back yesterday after you told me the story and watched Burns tell the story in tears on his Sirius XM and SEC Network morning show. And he says it was approaching 2 minutes, and several people had tried. The owner, Stinchcomb, the nurse.
And he said, I'm starting to black out. And he said it was the weirdest feeling. I could hear everything going on around me, but I was starting to black out. I was starting to fade, and my body was starting to shut down. And I don't know that Burnsy, did he say like I saw death? I don't know that
he said my life was starting to. I started thinking about my kids.
Yeah,
I was seeing pictures of me with them when I was little, when they were little in my head. Yeah. He said it was just the weirdest feeling, and he was like, if the professional can't dislodge it, who's going to do it?
Yeah. So this guy in this photo, Jack.
Looks a little like Uncle Steve Powers.
Looks like Uncle Steve Powers, maybe, is certified CPR and had just undergone training on CPR and the Heimlich.
Because he's a youth coach, and it's mandated of the coaches to pass the test in that youth league every year. So they're up to date on CPR and doing things like the Heimlich.
And this guy had just gone through the certification.
Go full picture on Jack again. If you
can. Says, let me give it a try. Gets over there, and his Heimlich dislodges it and saves Peter's life. I mean, that's
incredible,
it's an
man.
Incredible story.
It's one of those things that's always in the back of my head about choking.
And
and I think it was more before I got the tonsils removed. Do you guys ever worry about that?
Yeah, like I said, it's only happened to me one time, and it was a small piece.
I know
of
not
food.
to ask you this. I know you think about it.
I didn't, but I
you do now.
After yesterday, I do. Because I eat a lot, as you will make a joke about Maggie here. I eat a lot by myself, and I eat a lot of steak at home by myself.
Oof.
And if you're by yourself, there's ways to try to do the Heimlich by yourself, but you're not going to. If it's as deep as it was with Burnsy, it's not going to happen.
I was texting with Peter, and he was like, "I am not." Peter was like, I hope people don't think I am overselling this story. He goes, "I'm not." He goes, "I literally thought I was going to die." Yeah. That's why I asked. I didn't know if he said that. He said it to me in text. I didn't know if he had said it, on the show.
Greg Sankey was at the table. Alyssa Lang was there. The whole broadcast crew, people from Missouri was there. It was a huge table. Night before the broadcast.
Did they finish the meal?
It looks like, Peter in that picture is,
I'm getting literally like weak knees thinking about this story, man.
Boy, if you go back and watch it, and this guy, Missouri dad there, Jack Foster is his name, saved his life. And that's the way Peter said it on the air. You absolutely saved my life. And now everyone, was pushing,
So near death made Peter look like Jimmy Dykes.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what you do because, you've been coughing and the whole restaurant is staring there. But I guess you do. Rockstar has told that story before. You go back to having the night, I guess. He did the broadcast the next day.
The only time I've seen it happen was at a local establishment, and I've told you guys, the woman sat down, picked up her napkin, put it in her lap, picked up her silverware, started eating and talking again. I'm like, I just don't know that I could do that after I almost died.
New York Butcher Shop, where you get great steaks and everything, but chew your food.
Chew it.
And
even Jim will tell you that.
Yeah, stop by the New York Butcher Shop, pick up the finest and certified Angus prime beef steaks, burgers, premium pork chops, ribs, all natural chicken cut to order just for you, chef-prepared entree, side dishes, perfect dinner-to-go choice for you and your family, ready to heat at home with a great selection of fine wines and desserts. New York Butcher Shop, one-stop dinner shop, 2 locations, Caba Heights, Highway 119 in Greystone. The New York Butcher Shop, rare quality, well-done service.
Follow The Next Round on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Next Round Live.
Hey, Lance Taylor from The Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
NASCAR is back with the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega, Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Get your tickets right now at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or call 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Don't forget to enhance your race weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race. The weekend includes Buck and Dega, a rodeo and fireworks on Friday night, Jake Owen in concert on Saturday, and the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Get your tickets at TalladagaSuperspeedway.com.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
Hey, you. Feel that? That's fall in the air. And New Balance Birmingham got your fresh fall pair. To kick it during game time and sport from the sideline. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280 right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
The 2024 Yellowwood 500 weekend is coming back to Talladega Superspeedway Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. Reserve your spot today by visiting TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or calling 877-GO-TO-DEGA. Enhance your weekend by adding passes to the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Race, the most immersive garage experience in NASCAR. Reserve your seat, your spot in the infield, or your camping site for the Yellowwood 500 weekend Friday, October 4th through Sunday, October 6th. TalladagaSuperspeedway.com or 877-GO-TO-DEGA.
Back with you on the next round. This hour brought to you by our friends at Champy's and also our friends in Talladega. I got a great soundbite that Forrester has pulled from Kane Womack that I think Alabama fans want to hear. Because right now you're worried about what, Alabama? What are you worried about with Alabama? Offense or defense?
I think you had
defense.
Yeah, defense.
Yeah, defense. Okay, hang around. Because Kane Womack said something yesterday I think it's going to make you feel pretty good.
Okay.
You always feel great at Talladega. The camping's great. It's free. They got great events going on when you get your tickets for the Yellowwood 500 weekend. By the way, correction. I'll save that for a moment because I messed up on something. October 4th through the 6th is Yellowwood 500 weekend. You can get your tickets right there at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. TalladegaSuperspeedway.com, 877-GO-TO-DEGA. I mean, if you just went for Friday, it's worth a ticket. Just see the truck playoff race and the rodeo, the Buck and Dega rodeo. It's worth the price. Just go see Jake Owen in concert on Saturday night, but you also get an Xfinity playoff race. And then the Yellowwood 500 on Sunday. Upgrade the experience with the Talladega Garage Experience presented by Cool Ray. It's all right there, TalladegaSuperspeedway.com. Rockstar, if you give me cut number 5, Kane Womack is a friend of the show. He is the defensive coordinator at Alabama. And people are still a little worried about the defense. So I think they've played better than – I mean, LT had me set up that this defense was going to be makeshift at best, and it was going to be a lot of 42-41 games. Hasn't happened yet. There's been some concerns. But Kane Womack says something I think makes Alabama fans feel pretty good if you're a little shaky on the defense to this point.
Fortunately for us – we have probably shown a small volume of defense over the first 3 weeks here, and that's a good thing. We carried a lot more defense going into each of those 3 games, and once we realized that we didn't have to show certain things, we chose not to do that. And so we'll get a ton of great reps at some of those things schematically that we need to make sure we get extra reps as we move into SEC play as well.
So they're holding some stuff back, is what he said.
He hadn't had to use them yet. He said on his play sheet, they haven't gotten to the good stuff I guess yet. Now, USF seemed a little shaky for a while.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Look, they're only giving up 8 points per game. I don't know. They haven't played. Obviously, Tyler Van Dyke goes out in the first quarter. Unfortunately, he's lost for the year for the Badgers. I don't think you were really going to get tested with him. Byron Brown's a quarterback that really can't throw it consistently, so they haven't been tested. Now, over the next 4 games, they're going to be tested because you get the backside, the front end of Georgia, and the backside of Tennessee.
Yeah, and you listened to yesterday's interview with Joel Klatt, and Lance has mentioned this before, and I think we all are like, boy, sometimes it looks so easy for them to, on a big third down play, you said yesterday, you and Klatt yesterday, running the ball on the edge. There seems to be some holes, but they've been very aggressive, and I've been sort of more impressed with them than I thought I was going to be. And he says they may have another wrinkle there to tighten the ship up.
I mean, if they've played a lot of base, is kind of what he's insinuating there, and haven't had to throw a lot of things out there, that is good. The concerning thing to me, Jim, so this is a two-sided coin. Number one, they've only given up 300 yards once. So 300 yards in today's college game, I think that's a pretty good day of defense. Just the way offense is played now. 309 to South Florida. Only gave up 290 Saturday to Wisconsin. But South Florida ran 82 plays on them. Wisconsin ran 72 plays. That's a lot of plays to have your defense out on the field. You got to get them off the field somehow.
Yeah, and you run those type of plays with a really good quarterback.
Oh, yeah, you're in trouble.
That's going to equate to points.
The problem is, though, they're running all those plays because Alabama's they don't have any sustained drives. Alabama's scoring in 4 plays, 2 plays.
I mean, I don't know if that's a function of the plays the other team runs, though. That's a function of time of possession. And it all goes together.
By the way,
Alabama's scoring so quick, though.
They are, but if your defense is getting off the field.
Yeah, how much did that affect Bama in 20 and 21?
Well, I'm not saying that it's not. I mean, Alabama's defense in 20 gave up a lot of points because Alabama scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
If you go back and look, they were some NFL greats on that team, but they gave up some points because you're right, they're tired. I mean, but we're scoring points on the other side, right? Do you want me to stop it to 2 and then we punch it in? Yeah.
No, but I'm saying if you're getting them off the field early, it's reducing the number of plays that they're going to get. I mean, 82 plays is a function of the fact that you're not getting them off the field the entire game. Even before your offense is scoring explosive points, you're struggling to get them off the field on third down.
Yeah.
And that is a concern. And Lance is right. You let Carson Beck or Nico run 70 plays, you're going to have some issues.
Yeah. And Landmine Believer and some others are pointing this out. The scheme that they are running, and Roman had told us, Roman Harper, who joins our show, had told us this when back in the spring, that the 2-3 yard play seems to be open on this defense. Won't be as much pressing at the line of scrimmage. And when you do a bunch of 2 or 3 yard plays, 4 yard plays, you end up converting in a lot of third downs, and those are long drives, to your point. So
I will tell you this, the way the offense scores, in a lot of games, you're not going to have teams settling for 3. You're forcing teams to go for a lot of fourth downs. Because if the offense continues to score that way and have those explosive plays, a field goal is going to do you very little good against Alabama.
Our friends at Way to Wellness bringing you the show today. Leslie is one of the best business women I've ever met, and she's got just a wonderful group of folks down there that take care of you. For some people, it's weight loss. You want to jumpstart a weight loss journey, or maybe you need medically some help. They've got all sorts of options there that can help you lose weight with our friends at Way to Wellness. Also, they have great food plans there, just some education, accountability. They can do it all at Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. The website is aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. No contracts, no sign-up fee, and the consultation you see on the screen with the Meltdown guys are absolutely free. Go check it out right now and find out why it's a great way to lose weight or control your blood pressure or cholesterol with our friends at Way to Wellness. It's aplanforme.com. Before we hit the trash open, Sidney Crosby, still playing or not still playing in hockey?
Still playing.
I would have voted he retired.
Yeah, I think he's still playing. I mean, there's obviously going to be a huge, even though it's the NHL, there's going to be a huge announcement, and I think there'll be a lot more buzz.
Yeah.
He signed a 2-year extension, $17.4 million yesterday. It carries him through the 26-27 season. He's 37 years old. Sid the Kid, not a kid anymore.
Still in Pittsburgh?
Still in Pittsburgh. Going to retire a Penguin.
What a career, huh?
Going to retire a Penguin. Big get there. All right, here we go. Time now for trash. LT's got it. Rockstar's got the button. Let's hit it, man.
Now, extinctions, I don't have to tell you, have been part of the natural history of the world for millennia. And man-made extinctions have even happened before. I guess we hunted the dildo into extinction. But the dodo, rather. Forgive me. I'm having trouble with my words today.
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, and if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help, whether you're a first-time buyer or seasoned home buying veteran. Their great service and low rates make the process easy. Speaking of veterans, veteran founded right here in Birmingham. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. Suspect has been arrested over the now viral video of an enraged driver stealing a tow truck, hauling away his pickup, then crashing it into multiple cars, while his dad defended him Friday, saying he was convinced he was getting robbed.
All right, so the tow truck grabs his pickup, and then he steals the tow truck? Was that the story there? Is that
Russell Leosa, 55, was slapped with multiple charges, including robbery, grand larceny, reckless endangerment, leaving the scene of an accident, and 11 counts of property damage for the September 6th incident, according to cops. Now, the driver exploded as the tow truck driver was set to drive off with his black Chevy Silverado. Quote, "I'm warning you, MFer, get the F away from my truck," Leosa yells before jumping into the tow truck, barreling down the street with his truck attached. Then slams into several parked cars before his pickup truck tips over, tumbling onto the street. Now, Leosa's father defended him Friday, saying his son thought he was being robbed. Quote, he thought the tow truck was unmarked. The guy was making threatening comments to him, and he thought the guy was robbing his truck. That's why he was adamant about the situation. I'm not saying that justifies what he did, how he responded, but the guy caught him by surprise, and that guy actually threatened him. I'm convinced this is going to happen. This parking lot, this slum dude that has the parking lots in Birmingham,
right,
where they set it up where the credit card machine doesn't work, and so there's no way that you can pay, and then once you don't pay, then you get towed.
I've been tagged there before.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have, and I think somebody is going to ultimately, because his towers both flick me off.
Yep.
And I think you're going to get one of these situations.
So this guy, it wasn't being repossessed.
No.
He was just parked illegally or something?
Parked illegally.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I thought it was El Repo that was going wrong.
Dude, the tow truck driver looks like he's about to give him a ride, doesn't he?
Yep.
I somehow TikTok gave me the algorithm of repo guys, and they very, very wisely they record all their stuff, right?
Right.
And the links people will go to try to get their car from being repoed is pretty incredible. Like
maybe especially women.
Yeah.
Hey, maybe just pay the payments once a month. Right?
I agree, but some people they're in a tight situation. They can't afford it. They got to make decisions. Watching the video, some people are probably making decisions, and they're not in a tight situation. They're just making poor decisions. But but boy, they'll go to great lengths to keep them.
The math doesn't add up.
Yes, in a lot of situations.
Emergency responders in Indiana experienced a quote first when a medical call ended with firefighters rescuing a monkey that got loose and scaled a building.
I thought it was a giant spider at first.
Yeah, boy, so
tall 10-foot building.
Firefighters had to go get that.
Now,
of course, you don't want the monkey running around loose. I've seen Outbreak. That can end bad.
Yeah, it spits in your eye.
That's right.
Can end a whole civilization.
It can.
Now, the Post said responders tended to the patient, quote, learned their monkey had gotten loose, scaled a building, could not get down on its own. Firefighters were, quote, able to safely bring the monkey down, and it was cared for by the deputies while EMS tended to its owner.
If he spits in the eye, called Dustin Hoffman. He knew how to handle everything, didn't he?
Kevin Spacey did not, right?
Nope, he did not. Kevin Spacey played a great villain.
And I thought Morgan Freeman was just going to torch the whole thing, right?
Well, I think so. I mean, sometimes you got to make tough decisions. Thank God we had Dustin Hoffman there.
Okay.
Settle everything down.
This is the moment that I admit I had no idea, and this is like idiotic on my part. ORIDA. What does ORIDA stand
potatoes.
for? Or IDA, which is Oregon and Idaho.
Yeah, Oregon and Idaho.
Yeah,
right there
I had
on the border.
no idea.
You didn't know that?
Not until I saw it like printed out like this. Makes a lot of sense now. Now, the city of Ontario will celebrate its legacy this month as the birthplace of one of America's great culinary creations, the tater tot. I've been begging our friend Will Haver to get tater tots at Odie's. Just seems like a great fit.
He's not going to do it.
He's not going to do it.
Yeah.
1953, Neffy and Golden Grigg created the very first tater tots in their Ore-Ida factory located on the Oregon border with Idaho. First time I've ever read this.
Yeah.
So Ore-Ida invented the tater tot?
Yeah.
I could believe that. They were the name brand, so I assume they invented it.
Now,
yeah.
in the honor of that history, the nonprofit Revitalize Ontario will hold a 2-day event the 20th and 21st of this month, celebrating the tot, including novel tater tot dishes, live music, and a car show. First festival in 2021, so popular, they actually ran out of tots.
I'm not a fan.
If you ask who came up with the name Tater Tot, while the Grigg brothers didn't leave official documentation on the subject, the name is believed to have come from Clora Leigh Orton, an Ore-Ida employee who entered a factory-wide contest to name the new potato creation.
Yeah, Jim, I'm with you. Here's how I feel about tater tots. I'll eat them.
It's a great name for them, by the way.
Tater tots. Oh, fantastic name.
You think she got paid?
No, she did not. She got a check every month,
Yeah.
I'm sure. I'll eat them, but I don't seek them out. That's the way I would describe tater tots. Like, if it's the choice, if like I want a burger, what do y'all have on the side? Tater tots. Okay, I'll eat them.
Yeah,
But I don't seek out tater tots.
I wish they were like half the size and a little bit more crunchier.
I'll tell you, crunchy is key, but quick snack, place on the strip in Tuscaloosa, they used to do them, and they would pour like a gob of cheese over the top, and then you could just squirt the mayonnaise and ketchup on top. Just eat it with a fork.
Mayonnaise.
I'll tell you, I got misled. I was expecting to get that looking thing at my appetizer at SEC Media Days in Dallas. I ordered the tater tot appetizer, and it came out as 4 really big tater tots. They were about
they
that
were quite
size.
large.
Yeah.
Do you have anybody in your life that if it's fries or tater tots or hash browns, they just call it your potatoes? You gonna eat those potatoes?
Maybe the older generation.
I think older generation does that. I've seen that before. Like
I went to dinner last night. I ordered mashed potatoes, and they actually brought fries. But I just went on and powered through.
How disappointed
that's a
were
win
you?
for me.
That's okay. Hey, Mariah Carey has journeyed to the Great Wall of China, and in a
not even her time of year
characteristically
yet.
glamorous style, she did it while wearing heels. Now, the pop star, 55 years old, was seen scaling the structure along with her 2 kids, Moroccan and Monroe, on Saturday.
McRockin?
Moroccan.
Moroccan,
Like
okay.
the...
Like the country.
Yeah, the
and
country.
Monroe, like the city of Louisiana.
Yeah, dressed in a chic black dress, black shades, immaculate makeup, and a blow-dried ponytail, she shared a picture of the hike on her Twitter page. Quote, at the Great Wall of China, she wrote, someone should have warned me about heels, not that I would have listened. Footage from other social media users at the site of the tourist attraction shows Carey wearing 6-inch black platform heels, and she is being held up by 2 people, part of her staff, as she struggles
Either Moroccan or Monroe is not real thrilled with this trip. I don't know which child that is.
The other child wanted to go. The other one did not.
That is correct. Yes.
I would tell you, Great Wall of China. If you could go any
China.
I mean, how?
I would love to go.
You would love to see that?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to pop in, pop out. I really don't want to dive around China for a while. There's other spots I'd like to hang out at, but I'd like to see the Great Wall.
I'd like to go to China. I'd see the Great Wall if I'm close to it.
Yeah, I would say a helicopter tour. I'd like to. How long is the Great Wall? It goes a long way.
It's quite long.
It's probably 200 feet.
Yeah, it's quite long. Do you?
I'd like to fly, over it for a long distance, just see it.
It's about the congested part of 280. So Summit to the old Superior Grill.
No, it's not. It's longer than that.
No, it's much longer. 100% chance you'd be disappointed by it. 100%. I'm going to say it's not as wide as you would have thought or as tall as you would have thought.
Why? I picture it being.
Would you be more disappointed with Mariah Carey in the wild or the Great Wall?
I think the Great Wall, but it would be close. I mean, she's an older woman now. She'd be disappointed in me. She saw me in my 20s and saw me now. She'd be like, "Ooh, Jim."
I thought you said you look better now.
I have at brief moments of this year.
Just guess the length of the Great Wall of China.
I'm gonna say 2,900 miles.
Okay.
Is that too long?
That's too long. That is too long. I will say though 678 miles.
13,171 miles.
It's too long, Dunaway.
Yeah. I mean,
so what is it? Just go in circles?
Slave labor. China's a big place.
I know it's a big place.
Yeah. Slave labor can do a lot of work.
But from Seattle to Rockstar on the fly, Seattle to Miami. If we went like,
if I just go DC. Well, let's just do this. I mean, it's a conversational piece.
But think about how far apart those points are. Seattle to Miami.
That's a long place. Conversational piece from, let's say, Galveston.
Let's
put it somewhere
how
close
far, Rocky?
2,700 miles.
Okay, so and how far did you say that?
13,000. That's what's crazy about this. Galveston to what?
So just say from where Texas, the border hits the Gulf, and let's say all the way to the Pacific where California meets Mexico, and you wanted to say somebody wanted to build a wall there.
Galveston to San Diego?
This is basically what Rockstar just said. Seattle to Miami, that's 5 times.
Yeah.
So just imagine stretching that out 5 times. It seems like that would almost go around the globe.
Galveston to San Diego by car is 1,500 miles.
Yeah.
So this would be border wall basically times 10.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Final story. Michelle Kopke had a relationship unlike any other. Her unusual love story began over 10 years ago when she fell in love with a Boeing 737.
And they are good lovers.
Look how big she is. She's a giant.
Now, she affectionately nicknamed the plane Schatz, German for darling.
Oh, okay.
After
Makes a lot of more sense now.
decade of being, quote, together, Kopke recently announced that their relationship had come to an end. The reason? The increasing distance between them. Now, Kopke's relationship with the airplane is an example of objectophilia. Is that right? Objectophilia?
I think it's objectophilia.
Yeah.
Now, a rare phenomenon where individuals develop romantic or sexual feelings towards objects. She openly shared her feelings, described how she first fell in love with the Boeing 737. Went on to say she visited a hangar, kissed the airplane, once expressed hopes of marrying the plane, declaring, quote, "I'm simply different," stand for however. Despite her devotion, Kopke recently revealed that the relationship had come to an end because of the physical distance. Quote, still stressed in an interview, "I'm still friends for my all-time love, my 737, she said.
Okay. So their relationship hit a little turbulence?
That's very good, Dunaway.
That is Trash Today, brought to you by
our friends at Mortgage Right, veteran founded here in Birmingham. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No cost or obligation to find out what you qualify for. You can get more information. Go to the website, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200.
All right, 2 things I have gotten wrong, one on the show today and one going into the football season, brought to you by Gray's Tree Service. I said Bristol this weekend starts the NASCAR playoffs. Playoffs have already started. It wraps up round 1 this weekend at Bristol. Thank you to the NASCAR fans, the listeners who sent that to me in the correction. That was a mistake. Also a mistake for me is I had Ollie Gordon, I thought would lead the country in rushing this
How's that
year.
going?
Ollie Gordon through 3 games, just 216 yards.
Very
so
surprising.
far.
Yeah.
That's surprising.
Yeah, it looked good in overtime against Arkansas, but outside of that, it has not been the Ollie Gordon we saw in 2023.
Any mistakes by you guys today that you want to fess
I think
up
I
to?
got a clean sheet, I believe, there, Jim.
Yeah, I probably have a few. Anyway, if you have some trees that are dying off, you need to get these things extracted. I'm speaking from experience. Happened just a couple of months ago. Called the best in the business. That's our friends at Gray's Tree. Family owned and operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, soil health treatment to strengthen that trees and plants around your yard. Make sure you stop it, or actually just call these guys. Tell them to come out. They'll give you an absolutely free estimate. Rocky's had them out. Reed's had them out. 205-281-6100. Trusted by nearly every golf course in town at the Birmingham Zoo. No competition. You can scan that QR code or just go online to graystree.com.
Yeah, and Rusty's right. He hasn't had 50 carries on the year yet, let alone in the first game. In our ghosting segment today, it is the Mountain West. Who had the Mountain West is likely to crumble. It is starting to fall apart with those 4 teams that committed to go back to what is the PAC conference, whatever it ends up being called. There is now talk of Air Force leaving the Mountain West to join the American because of Navy and Army now being part of the American. UAB is part of that league. And now there is belief that other Mountain West teams, seeing 4 going here and 1 going there, will now jump ship to the newly formed PAC.
Well, this is on the Mountain West.
And the Mountain West will collapse.
It's on their leadership. I mean, they had an opportunity to make a deal ahead of this. Whether it would have held up or not, I don't know.
Yeah, should have got in front of this.
That's right.
I'll tell you, the best way to find yourself in one of these Power 4 conferences now is to be the Group 5 automatic. Like UNLV, how much more credibility are they going to have as a program if they get there this year?
That's right. Memphis, UNLV, by the way, hot to be the next one to join the MAC.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the Vegas market and what that program is doing. Memphis is another larger TV market that is not in a power conference. They're looking at them, also looking at Tulane. That PAC, that re-envisioned PAC, if they could get Cal and Stanford back to commit.
Oh, I think they will one day.
That'll be very interesting. That is our Ghost segment today. This segment brought to you by Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration. Authentic flavors, 0 sugars, no BS. Look for Ghost Energy and Ghost Hydration at all retailers that sell energy and hydration drinks near you. It's our friends at Ghost. Don't forget all of our content, including covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com, available right now. Premium content starting at $1 a month. Sign up there and see if you love all the content about your favorite team. But a lot of free shows every day, and sometimes multiple shows a day, free for you Bama and Auburn fans right there at covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. That's our show today. Bama and Bourbon be one of those shows. They're about to record that one. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.